It's a great battle in the midfield tonight, isn't it?
Yep.
There's two of the prime movers in Scott Thompson and Mark Murphy. We know that Murphy laid, I think, 9 tackles last week after Kingy led the criticism about his defensive style. So we'll watch with great interest how that battle unfolds, won't we, David King? Welcome.
Thanks, Anthony. Yes, we will. And it really, let's be honest, that's where the game's going to be won today. The midfield is going to be what separates these two sides. And in particular, for the Adelaide Crows to fire as per normal, it'll need to be Patrick Dangerfield who gets them going. He's kicked 7 goals this year. He's been their spark. He's been their toughest player. He's been, along with Rory Sloane, their most consistent player. But they need that midfield to click. Can Dangerfield do it by himself? You'd suggest not against the star-studded Carlton midfield.
So Mark Murphy ready to go. He will be tagged today. I spoke to Brenton Sanderson yesterday, and there's plenty of Carlton stars that they need to look at. Of course, Judd has been sensational against the Adelaide Crows. 29 disposals last time around, 7 clearances, 7 tackles. That's his averages against Adelaide since 2010. So you can't let that guy get too far away. But Mark Murphy's first cab off the rank as far as a hard tag's concerned today. So we'll keep an eye on that.
Well, young Kerridge did the job last week for them on Ryan Griffin. So it'll be interesting to see if he gets that same task.
Really good atmosphere today. The weather's just magnificent. About 23 degrees. As I said, the only issue is that the wind is starting to blow up. It's a bit blustery. If anything, it is blowing to the right of screen and into the forward pocket closest to the camera. So the right forward pocket. Dermot, you were down there.
I had to walk right across the ground, and inside 30 metres at both ends, it's virtually still. There's a blustery breeze coming across the ground virtually into our faces.
So much at stake this afternoon for Carlton and Adelaide, and it all begins in the twilight. Quick kick from Murphy, so he's away. And so at Carlton, Arnfield couldn't quite, but Lucas gives them another chance. Judd. So some important players getting some early touches for the Blues, but that all ends with Douglas, who's in some good form. Put a bit of extra work in over the off-season to get to more contests, and it's starting to show. They didn't do any favours for McKay there. But Riley's going to get them out of that trouble. Talia and Alton, who's also finally returning that good form we saw before his injury. Petrenko was halted in his tracks. Good to see Lynch come in and give them some extra run and targets up forward. Kick into the 50. Oh, it was a hurried kick towards full forward. Jenkins a hard man to get around, but Henderson did it successfully and took it through.
Well, a couple of big jobs for small Adelaide defenders. Jensch has got the job on Garlett, and Luke Brown is picking up Chris Yarron.
All the big names at Carlton getting early touches as Judd goes over the top to Walker. Carazzo, little chip out wide. Good play. They worked that well, Carlton. Lucas has it at halfback flank. So looks up. Judd wants it short. Lucas decides to kick a medium-sized kick, if you like. Didn't kick right through the ball. Arnfield caught one in the head there. Could have got a free kick. Rutten stands up in the tackle. But here they go, the Blues, the excitement machine. That's Garlett. Inside 50 with the kick. It's bending back, but not enough. And through 4 behind. So it's a point each. Early stages in this opening term at the MCG. And we've just got the temperature through. It is still 23 degrees here in Melbourne.
Well, not too many complaints about that. Ball at full back with Jensch. Dabs it in for Sloane.
He got a couple of good blocks there. Ed Curno's trying to go with Rory Sloane.
And it looks like Carazzo's gone to Scott Thompson as the ball goes over the line and out of bounds. And Kerridge lined up on Gibbs.
And Matty Wright is the man shadowing Mark Murphy.
So there's lots of one-on-one stuff.
Oh, free kick here to Richard Douglas.
For a midfielder, he's a good size, Kerridge. He's 188 and he's up near the 14 stone mark, 88 kilos.
Alton takes it as they run from half back. He just halted in his progress, so usually means that the players ahead, the defensive players, have got into the right positions. Jensch, with only Hansen there to put any sort of pressure on him. But again, it's pretty haphazard stop-start stuff for the Crows. Knocked away from Jacobs. Lucas committed. So too was the big man Jenkins, though. And the Crows are all getting a feel for the ball. Dangerfield to half forward. Here's Walker. Couldn't mark it. He got himself into the clear. And it made things much easier for Scott Thompson from the stand start. That was, well, it almost almost made it in the end, but it was a fairly low percentage effort. White takes the grab for the Blues.
Had a couple of blokes inside in the corridor. They just didn't run hard enough forward. If they had been able to run 20 metres or so, they'd have got a chip kick forward.
White, Henderson, Lucas did a good, don't argue, in the chest there. Bit of bench press over the summer doom, got him away. The ball goes over the line out of bounds.
Talk about things in a big nature. Bernie Vince is wearing Eddie Betts' away shorts. They are huge.
Well, Bernie spent last week in the reserves. Had 30 touches, did well. Coach was very happy with the way he responded. Inside 50 goes Judd. Off the hands of the pack. Rowe gets the handball going. First goal coming up for the Blues. Great goal. Brock McLean.
Good contest by Rowe for a start. Little give out there. He controlled the area the ball was most likely to go to from this contest. So watch him, he gets rear position, nudge forward, even palms it to himself to advantage out the back. Clever play.
Brock McLean puts the first goal on the board. And it was good play by Rowe, who even in his short period of 4 games now with the Blues has shown that he's going to really make a contest at the very least. Warnock was back too with a vengeance last week, but his tap goes to Sloan, who's quickly servicing the tools of Adelaide. Walker couldn't. Jenkins was able to at least get the ball to boot. He's been lively to start with as well. Got a good contest.
2 early opportunities for Taylor Walker. He's got his hands to them, just hasn't been able to clunk the mark. I mean, that's big confidence-wise. If he grabs those, you have a couple of set shots, you're off and running. At the moment, he'd just be feeling a little bit flat.
We saw that on Thursday. Clokey grasped a few that he got clean hands to, and it became more difficult as time went on for him to grasp them cleanly.
Out of the congestion, Riley for Adelaide inside 50. There's the big man, Tex, 55 out. Good run down, he played on. That was fantastic play from Robinson, and the turnover is complete. Henderson gets the handball out to Scotland.
Who glances down the ground and sees that Yaron is already moving for him. Likewise, Simpson's on the advance across the ground and getting into good position. The kick wasn't perfect. And it won't end that well for him. You wouldn't think, Lovey. Did need a little bit of help, the Crows' defence on that occasion.
The kick was wonderful. It was low and flat. He just didn't read the depth of it.
It boggles the mind why players play on when they're in a goal-scoring opportunity. Taylor Walker, he could have made the distance easily there, and all of a sudden puts his team under pressure because he plays on and doesn't convert.
Dangerfield kept on coming, received from Otten, and then honouring the lead of Rutten. And the truck has it at half-back. Parked at half-back.
It's one of the great nicknames, isn't it?
It's so appropriate, isn't it?
Yeah.
Jenkins moving around pretty well. Henderson might win the day here. Walker's been prolific in recent weeks. It's Carlton's Walker, of course. Murphy had to wait for an anxious moment or two, but didn't get any damage. And again, it's Andrew Walker who sends him wide.
Look at Murphy running. Great play by the skipper. He wants it. He might still get it. The ball comes out now. Can kick a mile to he. Can he kick it straight? Not on this occasion. He certainly got the distance and threw for another behind to Carlton.
Chase, just having a look at the Adelaide Crow ball use, it's a lot shorter than what we've been used to in the last 12 to 18 months under Brenton Sanderson. They seem to be going shorter at half-back and maintaining possession for a bit longer. Normally they go long and quick to Walker.
Yeah, and a lot more use of the foot rather than handballs, Kingy.
Rory Sloane, Walker was the mark, but Trinko. They've done well here, the Adelaide Crows. Twisting and turning over the top. Now Walker from 55 looks up, and the kick was a shocker. The last kick just didn't go anywhere near the goals or the front of the square, and Gibbs was able to pick it off and kick to his teammate Warnock in the back pocket.
Just watch it behind play. Walker's motioning to his teammate, you should have run at me.
They got it off, moving to Lucas first of all, and then Garlett and Lucas again collaborate to get it to half forward. Comes to a grinding halt. Dangerfield, he left them all in his wake, turning on the left, but his sharp-angled kick was no good.
Well done by Armfield, put pressure on just on the death of the kick.
Curnow takes the mark. So Curnow, a little bit close to the man on the mark, but lofted it. Half forward, plenty of buffeting going on, made it hard for Rowe to get to the footy. It's all Carlton at the front though. Garlett angled the handball in, but Dangerfield was onto it. Overcooked the pass centrally. Tui saw a little opening, but then had to revert. Get the handball back to White. You can see from the stand start it was going to go a mile in the air. Uncomfortable moment or two for Brodie Smith.
That one there
goes out of bounds.
Kingy, as I said, within 30 metres at either end, the conditions are benign. But until you get to that, we saw that ball carry an extra 5 in general field play to about 30 out from each goal.
A little bit fluky at the moment, the breeze, but this is perfect conditions for football. Mid-20s in terms of temperature. It's pretty still.
Sloan swings it around. Back to half-back. Henderson had to put the big ones in against White. White went again. And the Carlton fans are on their feet. They need a bit more energy and spirit early.
We said earlier it looked like Ed Curnow was following Rory Sloane. Well, Rory Sloane's now gone to Chris Judd. Those two are going head-to-head. What a great matchup that is.
Carrazzo still watching Thompson at the front of the pack and eluded them all, and it was set there for Wright, who, as we said, has the job on Murphy. Murphy lays the tackle and it falls for Garland. Good protection provided, Judd. He was into his action quickly and gets it to full forward. Away from Hampson by Rutten. McKay had to release it. The pressure building and building.
In trouble.
Here's Luke Brown. But he gets a hand from the umpire.
24 degrees. It's got hotter, and it was hot in that forward pocket, no doubt about it. We're expecting some wind gusts up to some 45 kilometres an hour as Carrazzo just takes it, puts it through. Don't worry about the wind from there. He just went to the right spot. Beautiful tap. Big goal to the Blues.
Jason, you called it. Sloane was with Curnow, and then he's pressed over trying to pick up Judd. So when Curnow's still on him technically, but Sloane's actually thinking, I've got to go to Judd rather than Curnow. Does that free him up in that situation?
Well, he's got to be one of the hit two guys when you break away from a stoppage like that. But I like Adelaide's aggression. If they're saying if our best player's going to get tagged, let's send them to some of the prime movers from the Blues.
There's Patrick Dangerfield there. He's been moved to full forward. He's had 5 early disposals. He looks like the generator in the midfield. But Carlton struggle for that defensive matchup at fullback. A great move by Brenton Sanderson.
So both goals coming from stoppages, and they're looking for more, the Blues. Quick kick from Judd. Clean bowled a few, and now they go to work. Garland laid it off, and Yaron's got one.
Well, you would have thought that Adelaide have had a good look at the way things unfolded against West Coast for the Blues last week, and Luke Brown just gets the wrong side of Chris Yaron here. He's got him up the field. It gets over the top, and he gets caught flat-footed ball watching. Yaron's off and running. You've got to keep pushing him up the field. You can't let him, for a moment, get goal side of it. You won't catch him.
If we put the clock on him, I reckon he hesitated for not quite a second, and that was too much.
So Andrew Carrazzo, in the space of 10 seconds of play, kicks a goal for Carlton and then gets the centre break required underneath the ruckman, sharked it beautifully, off to Judd, and off to the races go the Blues. They're 18 points up. Now, Adelaide must get going from here. Henderson. Talia. His kick is overcooked. Scotland, one of the great old professionals in the game. He will just dwell all over McKay here. McKay did well, had some support. Brown. Scotland still running, did well. Brown's top spinner goes up to half forward. Chance now for the Adelaide Crows as the kick comes in from right. It's a beauty. And Walker must go back and kick the goal.
Yeah, you're right, Ed. He needs to settle here. They desperately need a goal because Carlton have made every post winner. They haven't been able to hit targets, Adelaide. They're butchering the footy at the moment.
Well, he's 2 kicks going inside forward 50. This will be the 3rd time he's taken the ball in. Good little dummy lead, little hook lead there. He'll look at it and think, oh, there's a fair breeze that's going to go as he watches it go away from his left to right. But as I say, once it gets within 30 metres, the ball should continue straight.
From 52 metres out, the kick bends back, and he has worked it out beautifully. That's a great goal to Big Taylor Walker.
And when you see a bloke kick like that, you wonder why he played on the first time he took a mark on the 50-metre arc on the other side of the corridor. He has such range with his foot. It's a terrific little pass coming in because he had a good look at what was unfolding in the forward 50.
Who was that, right, was it?
And he just waited long enough to see Taylor come back at him.
Nice touch on the kick too. Didn't try and overkick it, just kicked it to advantage. Very easy to accept.
Well, that was the response that simply had to come from the Adelaide Crows. You can see why they're so one-dimensional in some ways up forward, because he's such a good player. Taylor Walker can kick them from a long way out, but as has been discussed, they need to find other options forward. Yaron.
There's a hold in there.
Free going to jump. Lucas starting one way.
Been on fire. Juddy's had 6 disposals already.
Rowe just fell short, and he did too. Rutten, Brown, and then Riley. He's the architect of a lot of their forward moves, but a little bit ahead of themselves there. Henderson, Sloan, slapdash sort of kick up to the wing. Petrenko, who's trying to negate the run of Walker, hasn't been able to hold him back so far. He's had 4 disposals already, Andrew Walker.
Interesting with Sam Jacobs having a spell forward. Jamison goes on to Jacobs and Henderson on to Walker. I would have thought if Jamison starts on Walker, he stays on him, because he is a much more dangerous forward than Sam Jacobs.
Douglas tries to get it out. Gibbs trying for Carlton. Robertson got the handball out. Tight play. Carazzo again in and under has been fantastic today. But it's the Crows who go inside 50, momentarily at least, until Jamison takes them out.
What's amazing for me in that matchup, Jason, is that Jacobs is coming out to centre half forward when he's looking for a rest, which is a real anaerobic position.
Beautiful kick from McLean to Simpson. Inside 50 it goes. Out comes Rutten. Couldn't hold the chest mark. Rowe close to the boundary line.
High contact.
Got the high contact. Soft from Talia.
Yeah, he knew if you're going to approach them front on, you just can't work in with your body like that and put pressure on the head. He'll get protected every time.
Rowe worked it beautifully.
He did.
Just waited for it. Stuck his head out like a turtle and it came. So Rowe right on the fence, as you can see. Carlton by 12 points.
Already been involved in a goal.
Beautiful piece of play early, which led to Brock McLean's goal. Rowe comes, tries to bend it back. Ooh, hit the top of the post.
Yep.
Yeah, top of the post.
Kick 1-3 last week too, Rowe. That's short ball into play. It was, gee, would have had some anxious Crows fans on the journey, but it got there okay in the end.
He had to take him on there.
Henderson runs a few rings and then kicks it back to the wing. Thompson's broken clear, takes the mark ahead of Carazzo. Walker holds, now he goes and leads into space and gets there despite the efforts of Brock McLean coming back the other way.
Almost identical spot, maybe a couple of metres closer than where he kicked the last goal. And again, it was a full press up as the kick out zone from Carlton. It meant that everyone was right up the ground and they had to push. That's why we saw Henderson do a U-turn. He had to wait till players got forward.
What's the concern here? Walker's had his hands on it, 5 times already. Yep. This is the 6th time, and he's doing it on the bit. He's just doing it so easily.
4 marks. And 1 goal, 1 for Taylor Walker.
But he was at, what, 60% stride then, Jason? He just lost his man, as you called it, through movement, through deceptive little runs. Now, if he actually gets into a sprint, he's lining up for a cranking evening here.
Yeah. 2 short to Walker, and the Blues trying to get off half back, and they will through McLean.
So McLean over the top.
He's hurt, Ed. Walker's hurt.
Lucas, keep an eye on it there. Kiggy will come straight down at the first break of play. Yaron.
Yep, he's in trouble. He's down.
Big drama for the Adelaide Crows now. And more drama up the other end because Robertson just overcommitted a little bit. Gave away the free kick.
I reckon it's a knee, Ed. I reckon there's real trouble here for Taylor Walker. Definitely a right knee. It locked on landing and he's in real trouble, being carried from the ground now by 2 trainers.
We'll have a good look at it in a moment. So for all the Adelaide Crows fans, hold fire until the first break. We'll get the replay for you. Rutten at half back. Terrible, terrible situation. There's nothing worse than seeing a great player, any player for that matter, in the hands of the trainers like Taylor Walker, dominating the game so far. Plenty of time at the back though for Jamison. To Murphy. Just brings the ball back to Gibbs. Nice handball. Good play. In the end, he turned the ball over. So the Crows need to invent something from here as Bernie Finch, after a week in the reserves, kicks it forward. Good pick up. Dropping the ball, says the umpire. Murphy's free kick, but they're away again with Scotland over the top.
And Adelaide's still a man down in as Walker makes his way off the ground. Carazzo pumps it deep. Robertson manoeuvres his way into the right spot. Oh, and here comes the dangerous Yaron sliding in.
Dive.
Free kick. Comes the way.
Free kick.
There is a free kick. Yep.
Taylor Walker's almost to the bench here, Ed. This could be the Adelaide Crows season coming from the ground right here, right now. I think he's got real problems with that right knee. I just hope for the Adelaide Crows is not what we think it is.
Gee, no free kick for that one to Douglas.
Please.
I've seen that paid 99 times out of 100. Armfield.
Didn't look.
Yeah, fairly blind kick. And the mark taken by Andy Otten.
We'll have a look at that injury to Walker. First break in play, so sit tight, everyone. Umpire's called play on. Judd into the open goal. Over the top. Yarran into the open goal for his second. Insult to injury. There's the goal. Now let's have a look at Taylor Walker.
Well, what he does, Ed, is he overcommits, actually. He didn't even need to do it because he didn't get there to spoil Brock McLean taking the mark. Watch him land. Props.
Ooh.
Oh, boy. You just saw it go there.
That's a free kick. So it's the
Hyperextends.
right leg, hyperextends.
Ugly to look at.
And it's almost a trampoline-like effect.
So all you can do is cross the fingers and hope that it's not the worst.
Yeah. It's bad. It's just a matter of how bad you think. And, well, our man David King on the spot. In the meantime, adding insult to injury, Carlton stroll into an open goal. Could have been a mark to the Adelaide Crows. It wasn't. And now they kick clear by 18 points to the Blues.
And Brenton Sanderson will be very upset on a couple of fronts, obviously with the injury, but the tackle count 11-2 in favour of the Blues. 11-3, in fact. Smith comes away. Back to the wing. Warnock. Andrew Walker. Blues pressing again. Simpson. It's going to go over his head. It's going to bounce all the way across. Simpson trying to get desperately onto the left. Manhandled successfully by getting rid of that.
The ball.
Yeah. He actually tried to slip the tackle, so he had prior opportunity.
The bench was very calm then, despite the fact that Garlett was hunting him down.
Gee, the Walker injury, the perspective it now puts on this game is, if they win it, it would be incredible. But they go from being a chance tonight to literally damage control.
Well, the other interesting factor now is how does Adelaide structure its forward line? Rory Sloane's gone forward. You've got Jenkins, who's the only tall. It's questionable whether they're going to get enough ball forward, but how do they make the most of it when they do now?
From the throw-in, Jacobs got the tap. Thompson. These midfielders, they're going to have to play some game, that's for sure. Sloane shepherded out of the way. Petrenko off the ground. Tui, good play. The Irishman again goes hard. Great play, hard body. Tui's great play and a wonderful kick up the wing. That is fantastic play.
That's play of the night.
Zach Tui, wonderful stuff. Talia, still a bit tentative after that broken arm last year. Little chip over the top. They're just lacking a bit of purpose at the moment, the Crows. They have to find their composure. This is the man to give it to them. Rutten, nice long kick out to a one-on-one contest. Good play from behind from Henderson. Brought it down. It's picked up by Garlett. Garlett just chips it inside to this man Lucas, who's been very busy tonight so far.
That Zach Tui effort from half-back flank, he just willed himself and bodily held himself over the ball for a start.
Sheer weight of numbers worked out well for the Crows this time, but it's in the right hands. Dangerfield.
Got nowhere to go.
Yeah, collect his thoughts. Lucky he did, because there was nothing on for him long. The edge takes the short.
He might have to become
I was going to ask
a
you.
Brad Johnson type key forward.
But we know him, and he played forward,
Dangerfield.
didn't he, under Neil Craig? And it's only when he went to the midfield, released to the midfield, that he became the player that he is today. So he'll be reluctant. Scotland.
Jono was up in Canberra today.
If only they had a cost of living allowance, they would maybe not have this issue.
Yes, well, they're going to miss. I mean, they're missing Tippett already, aren't they? But if Walker goes down, they're going to miss him even more.
Oh, yeah.
Simpson wheeled around. Extra leverage and length to full forward. Murphy stayed down, but he stayed in command.
High contact.
And through the free.
They're activating the substitute down here, Ed, which is bad news, really, for the Adelaide Crows. It means there is a major issue with Tex Walker. Hasn't come back to the bench as of yet. And young Rory Laird gets his first opportunity.
So that's tragic. I thought he was moving as good as any player in the game right now tonight. Made a couple of blues by decision-making by foot. But, gee, I thought he was set for a massive game tonight, Tex Walker.
Mark Murphy just stabbed it through. What a start for the Blues.
It's a good goal to Murphy, but the problem's at the other end. I hope you're not queasy, because that right leg just snaps straight.
That looks bad, but not as bad as this angle.
Yeah, shocking hyperextension, and that puts incredible stress on the ligaments and you just know there's going to be something serious to come of that, unfortunately. So a big blow for the Crows, but Carlton have just got to concentrate on the game.
So the Adelaide Crows box, Brenton Sanderson looking pensive there, trying to figure out how he can get a forward line structure worked out without killing his midfield. In the meantime, Carlton's midfield is absolutely on top. Rory Sloane has been fantastic, trying his best. Armitage off the ground, Armfield rather off the ground. The kick goes forward from Smith, but they've got all the answers at the moment, the Blues. White's handball, gets it back. Walker, good play. Carazzo's been fantastic. He just stood back and waited because you can't dive in. It opened the door for Dangerfield, and he missed the opportunity to get a much-needed goal for the Adelaide Crows.
At that bounce, at that centre bounce, forward of the ball, Adelaide Crows forward line, they started with 4 men only against 5 Carlton, and the 6th bloke pushed up to the back of the square as well.
It's Armfield hugging in the mark. An offensive 50.
It's a bad miss by Dangerfield. He just tried to nurse the kick instead of kicking through it.
Inside 50 count is 17 to Carlton, 11 to Adelaide. So been inside 11 times for 1 goal, the Crows. Armfield again gives him another spurt. Oh, and it's well-placed ball. Come from behind in the end row, but he played it to his own advantage. He was looking desperate for a teammate. What a sight Chris Judd is. If you're looking for a teammate, Chris Judd in your sights, and he runs in and puts it through.
No slight on Dangerfield, but you look at it. I mean, Judd didn't overkick that ball, but what he did, he pierced it. He gave a sharp little jab of the foot, and it was like a stab kick pass through the goal. So it was on line and it wasn't deviating. It was at the other end. Dangerfield's was a lob. Gets caught by wind, gets caught the outside of the foot. I mean, just clever play there.
Well, the rule of thumb in football is if you get better than 5 goals up at quarter time, it's very, very hard on your best day to get back from there. Adelaide now losing Taylor Walker, 5 goals down pretty much, 29 points, and they're in lots of trouble. They need to get a quick goal back here. Sloane over the top. Lucas again, good tackle. Sloane again going hard. Sloane goes hard again, gets it out to Thompson. Great play. Thompson's kick up to the big man who takes the mark. They need a goal here.
Picked that up off his shins.
Didn't he take a look? From this area of the ground, though, I'd go as far to say that, man, with this breeze, that's just about the hardest kick. As he's looking at this goal face now, for half of the journey, the breeze is coming from his right shoulder to left, but then it'll straighten out.
The former Blue, Sam Jacobs.
He's allowed for it.
And he's just wobbled it through for a behind.
Yeah, and as it gets the halfway journey, it just keeps holding the line you set it off on.
Tell you what was interesting, the build-up. The way Rory Sloane broke away from the pack, he fended one of his own players out of the way. He said, "Get out of the way, I'm coming through."
That's fantastic.
Scotland goes for a trot. Henderson tried to hem him in, and he's put some work on it and has affected the play, but Carlton still have it in their hands. Andrew Walker is in stellar form at the moment, across to White. It's 10 disposals for Walker in the first quarter.
Now it becomes a really good test for both teams now. Adelaide have got to find a way to be competitive. We can see Taylor Walker on the bench. They know they've had an injury to one of their star players. They know they're getting beaten badly in the first term. For Carlton, it's about how ruthless can the Blues be, not worrying about the issues that Adelaide have got, and can they turn it into a massive win.
Is that a hard mindset, Jason?
I think it is, particularly when you think you're cruising. Can they keep the foot down for the 4 quarters and maybe have a percentage boosting win?
Gibbs had a lot of options on the menu then. He waited and found Curnow and gets it back, and he's bouncing into action again. A wobbly low ball, tough one to contain, but Riley's an expert in that. He takes the mark at half-back. Called on quickly. It's a wobbly old ball to half-back. Scotland, McLean. And again, he was looking for reinforcements. Found it. Henderson. Lofted one. Yaron's got the drop of this. Good spoil in the end, and it needed to be for the Crows. Kay darting through. Comes to Douglas. Back to the middle. Just over Jenkins' head. We're down to 15 seconds. Wouldn't the Crows dearly love it here? He gets some run and help from behind, but Lynch, tack of the fumbles. Walker cleared him out of the way. McLean came in, and the situation is rectified for the Blues. The siren's going to sound. They've had a wonderful start to this game at the MCG. They lead by 28 points, and the scene couldn't be much bleaker for the Adelaide Crows.
The thing I love about this situation is for Brenton Sanderson now, we get to see how he can coach in an emotional content. I mean, the thing that will hold Adelaide in this is the way his players are emotionally motivated from here in.
Quarter time, it's Carlton 6-3-39, Adelaide 1-5-11.
Ricky Henderson's gone forward, Derm, so you've called that one correctly. So you've now got Henderson, you've got Jenkins, and you've also got Tom Lynch as your taller targets up forward.
And then a small, really small half-forward line as we get ready to get into the second half. And, of course, Jacobs up against his old team, beaten for it by Warnock. Carazzo put the little step on, then the handball missed the target. Vince, he needs to show some leadership here this afternoon. Back in the team, across to Thompson. Lofted ball. Jenkins, he will get there, but not enough to swallow it. And it's good hard work from the Blues. And it's Gibbs bounding away, kicking into the middle of the ground on the bounce. Bit of a fumble from Murphy, but kept it moving. Armfield, improvisation was good. And now, Garlett was about to go to work, but he just lost the handle at the crucial moment.
What about Laird's job coming on as sub? He goes straight on to Jeffy Garlett, who goes straight to the goal square, and he's playing fullback on one of the most dangerous smalls in the competition.
We got to call him after the Australian opener, don't we, Stumpy?
Armfield's been fantastic today. As it comes out to Robinson, there he goes. What is Garlett into the open goal? And this could turn into a rout very early on here at the MCG. 57 seconds in, it's another goal to the Blues.
Well, you know, we saw Luke Brown get a lesson in ball watching. What's Laird doing here? He's got him, he's goal side of him, but then he lets Garlett get goal side of him. So they're doing the right thing to start with, but then they're losing a grip on it. You've got to bumper bar him all the way and not let him get on the goal side of him.
Oh, once he... on the down the ground shot, when he actually kicks the ball, Laird's 12 behind.
Well, you would have a concerned look, wouldn't you, if you're trying to defend the Carlton Smalls, given the circumstance. 34 points the margin.
They're a good centre bounce clearance team, Adelaide. They're just not winning it in there at the moment. They've got to at least get something going their direction.
Tell you what, Carazzo's been fantastic, hasn't he, so far? There he is again underneath it. Robinson
Wins it. Riley there to chop it off, and he got the job done eventually.
That should be 50.
Rutt trying to give him some run. Well, that's not going to help. Big thump away from Hampson. Got it to ground. It got it to Scotland, who had time just to assess. Probably wasn't much there for him. And the mark taken by Luke Brown. Riley eases the ball to centre half back, making Jacobs gallop hard for it. Bit of hanging on.
You've got to bulldoze them through.
Walker got buffeted.
Dreadful hand.
Henderson misses right, and Simpson helps himself.
And misses the tackle.
And the Blues can really profit from it now. Curnow. Handball to a man who was running backwards, back towards, away from his own goal. That was Scotland, so just held things up a little bit. Andrew Walker continues to get plenty of the Sharon, and he's got it from the wing. His 11th disposal takes him to the 50.
long kick. Rowe from behind. Couldn't take the mark. At the front was Hampson. Between them, they both nearly marked it. Sloane's kick was smothered over the line out of bounds for a throw-in. Carlton up on their toes. They lead by 34 points.
That's that handball that hits the deck.
It was the wrong option as well.
Yeah, it doesn't lay the tackle. 2 errors in a row. You can sort of forgive one if it's a positive error.
Jacobs gets the tap. Carazzo leaves it for Murphy. Murphy, great plays. Play Armfield. Scotland over the top. Just toying with them at the moment. Simpson chips backwards. Henderson at half-back flank. Carlton reload. The kick was a turnover. Now's a chance for Dangerfield. He's going to have to go nearly all the way. A long kick. He decides to go for it himself. There were 2 players on. He's kicked it out of bounds.
Ed, that was either incredibly selfish or incredibly optimistic, because he had Ricky Henderson 10 metres clear running back in the corridor. He tried to kick the miraculous 55-metre bomb on the run.
Carlton's Henderson kicks it away. Trying to make up for it now. Dangerfield looking for a teammate. Found one. Scotty Thompson. Very lateral ball movement by the Crows, but it's an effective one. And it's Andy Otten, who may be either just drifting down or he's been redeployed into the forward line.
Right line. Stay on that line, please. Where he's standing's the mark.
Can't tell you what his goal kicking's like, Hutto. Don't know that he's been in this situation too often.
4 goals, 5 for his career, Jace. 1 goal already this year.
Lots of spinning of the ball as he's walking in.
Still just 23 years of age. I mentioned earlier, good to see him rediscovering some of the
Oh, wow.
Kicked it truly like a defender, but it's straight through. Crows' 2nd goal on the board.
That's the biggest instepper I've ever seen. That nearly turned into a full-blown boomerang.
That's a very good miss.
That started about 8 metres left of the left post and snuck inside the right-hand goal post. Did that do something?
Yeah.
It's one of those where you don't feel good when it's hitting the boot because you know you haven't struck it well, but do you have a laugh afterwards because somehow it got through. Great kick from Scotty Thompson and a good lead into space by Andy Otten.
No holds.
Bend it like Otten.
Yeah,
It's an amazing kick.
He has gone forward, so that's one of the first moves they've made.
So back in the centre again. Jard. Right through the middle of the line in the centre of the MCG under the ruckman's hand was great play. The long bomb forward. No fullback likes that one coming in the way it did. Going hard as Lucas has been good so far tonight. It's picked up though by Laird, who was the sub coming on for Taylor Walker. Off hands. Scotland. Ball bobbling around. Gibbs held, was he? No, said the umpire. Murphy hard at it, did it well. Walker trying to find some space. Vince got the ball out to Thompson. Now a chance for the Adelaide Crows. They go up the line. They need a mark. It won't come. It's over the line, out of bounds. We're throwing it half forward for the Crows.
Margin 28.
1 metre.
And the ruckman just getting there now and waiting for it to be back into play. Warnock, Jacobs. Warnock over the top, trying to get it down to Mitch Robinson, scrambling hard. Carazzo heaved it onto the boot. Bit of a nude nut of a kick, didn't move through the air, but it was beautifully read by Yaron, angling the kick to centre half forward. McLean, he waited for Curnow for a moment, might just set it up. He does for Simpson, who kept on charging forward. But too much run for them at the moment, the Blues.
Yeah, and there's a lot of ball watching going on. Brent Riley was responsible for Brock McLean. There's no way that Brock McLean should be able to run away 10 metres clear from Brent Riley speed-wise. But Riley was he was ball watching. McLean ducked out the back, took an uncontested mark.
It's the first mark they've taken inside 50.
Amazing, isn't it?
They've run in, and we saw Rode tap the ball to his own advantage in the first quarter, and Yaron ran on to the end of a couple, but first time they've run it. Just talk about this in a second after the kick. Nice strike.
And it's right through, and the Blues continue to build.
Now you can rest your, you can drop your hat on the fact that Taylor Walker's off the ground and he's their best player up in the forward line and put so much pressure going the other way. But the ball movement there, going forward, has nothing to do with Taylor Walker or what he would do out on the ground. That's the midfield, and Adelaide's midfield has been known for not laying enough tackles, and that is purely a case of not enough pressure on the opposition then.
Carlton have won the contested possession count by 7 at the moment, and they're leading the tackles by 3. So that's never a combination you like as an opposition coach.
Especially when you're dominating with possessions.
8-man backline, Carlton, but it's only because the Adelaide forwards have run away and stacked the other end.
Robinson shut down out of the middle. Lynch just hacking it forward. Otten buzzing around, takes the mark.
Well, I tell you what he does do. He presents well. He adopts the forward position as a starting point, and then he attacks the footy. And when you get that quick bobbly kick that's just going to drop short of the contest, the forward man's always going to get it. The bloke in front. We just saw one heck of a kick a moment ago that went through. Get to see a second one here, see if he strikes it a little bit better.
He'll have to start this in the Jolly Monroe yards on the last kick.
Yes, normally you say if he's kicked one, he'd be full of confidence to come in and kick another. Well, let's watch the trajectory. It's left, and that is staying left.
It's not that far off the strike on the foot from the first kick.
He almost missed it.
He's getting close to an area every time he kicks it.
Real problems at the clearance situation here for the Adelaide Crows. That was their strength last year. It's 17 first possessions to Carlton to 4 the Adelaide Crows. Now, I think Brenton Sanderson will grab Sam Jacobs at half-time, put him in a headlock. He needs this man to regain some of the form he showed in 2012, because the reality is he's playing against Warnock, who was playing VFL 3 weeks ago. He needs to stand up today.
So Jenkins goes into the ruck on this occasion, but Judd is having a field day, just roving the opposition ruckman. He kicks it forward. Robinson has been very, very dangerous. Here's Judd again, finding space. Back to Robinson. They're waxing. He goes for the torpedo. Came off his shin. And it is marked by Riley in the back pocket for the Crows. Transfers play to the members' side of the MCG. The mark is taken out there by Bernie Vince, who had a spell in the reserves last week. Vince's kick up to the wing. Off hands, Gibbs. Just floating across half-back at the moment, Dermal. That one was intercepted. Chance now for Lynch. Lynch's kick up towards Otten again, over his head. Jamison's there. Otten does well, gets it into Rory Sloane, who's been one of their better players. Handballs over the top to Thompson. Finds some space, normally a good kick. It bends, it bends, it bends, and hits the post.
Interesting there.
He had Otten on if he wanted him.
And what was he thinking? I won't pass it to Otten inside 50.
I want a better chance of picking him myself. And look, sometimes that goes through the minds of smart players with the ball. They sum it up that quickly, but you still think you've got to hit the player that's in space.
Armfield, as they advance to the wing, Lucas shakes himself into the clear. 51 playing 18, 8 goals to 2. Armfield kept on coming, and the Blues are coming again. Free kick, advantage. No, look, don't have to come back.
Yeah, just the touch of the hands on the back, that's the rule.
Clean, gave it to Lucas, relentless at the moment, the Blues. Jacobs has got back to be the extra. He's pushing hard back as the ruckman. But didn't need him as it turned out. It's out of bounds. There's Mick. Never really tell what the score is, by the way. Mick looks in the box. 33 points the margin. Down goes Jacobs. And then he feels the heat from Warnock. And so Hampson, I should say. And we'll have a ball up quickly, an instant one, just thrown up very quickly. And it's Judd that had the swing and the miss. Yench, good tackling. This is great stuff from Carlton. Curnow and McLean getting buffeted around. It's a ball.
As Kingy pointed out, he's got his work cut out, young Kerridge. He's against Judd, who has the game-high clearance with 4 at the moment. They're winning 13-9 in the clearances, Carlton.
Thompson flicks it out the back to Smith. Big effort here. Otten comes down from the forward line. Sloane
good
again.
Hands.
He's been good, hasn't he, Sloane?
Got to run it here, Adelaide.
All right, what's on? Anything up ahead, Jason?
That's the one thing you couldn't do is bomb away.
Might come off with a lucky bounce here. Up goes Henderson.
But they've got numbers back, the Blues.
Yeah, they have indeed. And the other Henderson gets it. Carlton's Henderson. Gibbs. Tui. Walker. Nothing on the switch, so he just does a U-turn, heads back the other way. And a long driving kick up the wing. A one-on-one contest. Off hands, Rowe has been excellent. Talia tracks him to the boundary line. Rowe keeps it in. Talia gets the handball going. Good play. As Wright kicks it forward. That's a better kick from his last one. Petrenko tries to get to the front of the pack. Walker again. Flicks it out to Gibbs, who's playing that quarterback role, if you like. He's just loose and setting it up and decides to go long up the line. Right. Getting back and taking a great mark there and almost getting his head knocked off as Riley.
Well, they had 8 men at the last centre bounce.
Oh, he's missed the target.
Carlton had 8 men in the back line. Oh, good contest. That'll hurt him, though.
Shoulder.
Oh, there's a great run-down tackle, and that might also cause some damage. The ball comes loose.
Who was it? White, was it?
It was White. Yep. And he is either ribs or shoulder. I reckon he subluxed his shoulder there. It might have been a broken collarbone even.
Lynch comes away for the Crows to centre half forward. Tui was good. Gets it again from Scotland. Walker just lost his reins on the footy. Douglas put himself in a dangerous position. Handball from Gibbs. Sweeping stuff it was to Scotland, who bounces and just plays the waiting game. It's getting more difficult for him, but Henderson was up to help out. Kicked it back to the wing. Now it's going to bounce in between the lot. Charging through was Scarlett, but he ended up giving it up. Dangerfield has been quiet for the last few minutes. Angling kick into centre half forward. Thompson had it stolen right before his very eyes by Henderson, and he's got Armfield running, and the Blues can bolt again to the southern side.
And White is back up on his feet. They've got players left, right and centre. Out goes Lucas with a couple of bounces. He looks up. He needed to get a bit more distance to put that kick right to that spot, and Brock McLean's got it. Great play, great composure. As Dermot always says, a man's got to...
No, he's got to know his limitations.
And he did, and he used every centimetre of it there, Lucas. It was great play. He knew what he had to do, knew how far he had to get, ran into spot, and then got the kick away with plenty of time. Great stuff, and McLean takes the mark.
Want me to be ultra picky?
Yep.
He could have run on and come to about 15 metres inside and got a chip kick back.
So McLean to make the margin 39 points. Bends it, but not enough. So they'll have to be happy with 34-point lead. Watch this one. Comes in, big crunch. And again, Derm.
He's got to know your limitations. He's a big lump of a lad sauce.
Ran into a brick wall.
Vince, and now Riley with the step. Right up to half-back.
That's affectionately known as the Clint Eastwood rule, eh?
Maybe they can get it moving off the wing through Vince to centre half forward. They're outnumbered here, the Crows, because Scotland came. He was brave up high. Tui. Here's Otten. Might provide a bit more excitement for us in front of goal. Douglas, they're shuffling around, and eventually it's Vince's left foot. And that was ugly, but beautiful all in one. Brings a little bit of a half smile to the face of Bernie Vince. The Crows getting a desperately needed goal. Back to 28 points.
That's what the boos were for, the little touch on Tui by Dangerfield there. But see how Dangerfield follows and goes back in. I mean, that's really good play, and just a great gather up with the left hand. Got some talent.
Just having a look at some of the Carlton forward 50 entries, lads, and you can just see there's quite a few bombed entries, 21 from outside 70. With this small forward line, if they can be more creative and run the ball a bit deeper, give their smalls, who are the creative players, an opportunity, they'll cash in heavily.
Robinson again after an 11-point turnaround from McLean's miss and Vince's goal gets the margin back to 28 points. The Blues just missed the target. Robinson again has been fantastic. To Scotland. Concedes some ground to Walker, who's a beautiful kick. He decides to go along with a big up and under. Yaron will wait down, off the hands of the pack. Sits. Picked up beautifully there by Yaron. He was always lurking with intent, and his kick was a ripper to Lucas, who will line up 30 metres out on a slight angle. But Yaron, just beautiful stuff there. You could tell when the ball was coming in, he was just sitting, waiting. Pounced on it, and then didn't blaze away. Looked for the best option and found it. So Kane Lucas, who has kicked 9 goals, 7 in his career so far, from East Fremantle, Trinity College in Western Australia, comes in. Started running to the right and kicked it exactly where it ran. And the Blues have just turned over a couple of set shots at goal in the last few minutes.
Which further to your point, Jason, earlier about just maintaining the rage, if you like.
They should be further in front, Carlton. They'll be kicking themselves.
Smith to the wing. Jenkins, good strong leap, but didn't bring it down. His follow-up work was great. He has given up a free, but I'd actually be pleased with the way that he was able to follow up after missing the mark.
That's very good.
Might cost them though. Robinson didn't like anything that was going on inside the 50. Henderson, he may have been a bit ambitious with the kick. And the free kick conceded on Sloane, who's been one of their most willing. He's an inspirational type of player, is Rory Sloane. Through the middle, Vince. Jenkins waiting. Dangerfield's deep. He's going to head in his direction. He'll test Tui. Both of them missed it. Now Henderson, knowing where Tui was, a little bit rough with the handball. And the Irishman happy enough to be escorted out.
Petrenko needed to be a bit harder on that situation, didn't he? He got there eventually, but he was a bit slow in his attack.
The pure proactive aspect of that forward line play, one of those players had to really come hard at the ball carrier. They both drifted back and then just sort of came at the ball.
Big play this next few minutes or so for the Crows. 6.5 to go. They could snag 1 or even 2 before the main break. That would give them some sense that they can get right back into the game. Rutten. Oh,
the truck.
Well, it was good stuff, wasn't it, from the big man Hampson? And that is a reflection of the pressure that Carlton and the intent they've shown since the start of the game.
Not going to get any easier, Anthony. Luke Brown is downstairs. He's been downstairs for the last 10 minutes. They're down to 2 rotations on the bench, and Carlton are looking to run them off their legs here.
So Carrazzo, who's been fantastic, just kicks, chips it forward, bounces fortuitously inside the line. We'll have a throw in about 35 metres round from the Carlton goal. A big 5.5 minutes. Jace, for the Adelaide Crows, they just really need to hold their composure at the moment, not give up too many goals here at all.
And they need to hit some targets when they get the ball. When they do go forward, they're just bombing it forward, and that's the last thing they should be doing.
Warnock over the top. Carrazzo again finds the space, gets it out to Lucas. Lucas's kick just across the face of goals for a throw-in. Best result for the Blues other than a goal.
Leading possession getter on the ground at the moment is Carlton's Andrew Walker. He's up to 17 from Heath Scotland on 14. Lockie Henderson 14. So not the usual suspects at the top of the tree.
So a danger spot this one. Throws in basically to the top of the square. It's like a centering kick. The Crows did it well though. Get the ball out of the 50. Walker again. As Jason said, has been fantastic. Carlton takes it to the boundary line, we'll have a throw in.
Yeah, and he was just suggesting the umpire a bit of jumper pulling going on. Twice had it stretched away from his body, so a little bit unlucky not to get the free kick, Andy Otten.
He leads all comers, Andrew Walker, on the ground with 17 disposals so far. Judd's been influential. Robertson starting to come into the game as well. Big lofted kick. They've got some height and some strength down there. Hampson couldn't hang on though, and Crows are able to come away initially through Smith, and then Wright, and then along the line to Douglas. So Richard Douglas is going to take a different path on the way out. Bernie Vince has started to work his way into the contest as well in this quarter. Up to 10 disposals now. Dangerfield and Thompson have 12. So does Sloan. The time was up, so he had to release it quickly. Riley back to the wing. Thompson, Jacobs. Thompson goes again, and Jenkins comes away. Reverse rolls there. Rover-like as he kicked at the half forward. Petrenko needs the bounce. Simpson beat him to the punch. Not a great handball. Scotland made it look better with his desperation and will to win. Took it and gave it to Walker. The Blues can break again. Just told us steady for a moment. And the mark taken by McLean at half-back. Hampson's on a long lead. He waits, and then he kicks it wide to that lead. It was on it. Gibbs is there for him if he wants to go short, or Curnow. Now hard stuff from Yaron. Not a good kick. And the Crows defence standing up okay on this occasion. Douglas whipped it to Otten in the middle, and he can get rid of it and give it to a teammate.
All right, 3 minutes, just under 4 minutes to go.
Super
Crows
kick.
need to get a goal here. Great play by Scotland. Just drifting across, got a hand on it.
He saved the goal, Scotland.
Chips it out wide. Murphy, the skipper, just holds it up, decides to go long up the line. One-on-one contest here, gets a lucky bounce, does Hampson. Hampson kicks inside 50. Armfield goes up. Vince, well, is he hitting the arms? No, said the umpire. Diving over the top was Sharon. The ball flicks out the back. Danger here. It's turned over. McLean gets the ball out to Gibbs. Gibbs from the pocket lines it up and kicks a goal for Carlton. Just what they wanted, the Blues.
That's almost a 2-goal turnaround. It was a brilliant kick that would have hit Patrick Dangerfield right on the number, and there's nothing a defender loves better than when one of the midfielders gets back and chops out when you're beaten, and that's what Heath Scotland did for Zach Tui. And then you go straight to the other end, and Bryce Gibbs kicks one that you probably kick 2 out of 10.
There's no margin for error on the kick. There's a beautiful goal from Bryce Gibbs, and that man Brenton Sanderson is feeling it. 35 points, game high margin. They need a quick response. Vince, keep it going. Hurry kick McKay. Give the Carlton defence something to think about. Walker, boy,
And he's getting pinged for it.
Dangerous play by Lynch.
He has an opportunity, Tom Lynch, tonight at his size and shape. He's been around a long time now, started at St Kilda. He's an old Sandy Dragons boy. He's got a chance to actually say, you know what, the opportunity's here now. I'm the right size and shape for me to actually have this stage and do well.
Gee, I tell you what, this fella's given them plenty in this quarter. It's quick. Brodie Smith scoots away. They're outnumbered again. And that's the height, would you believe, of Cade Simpson. and the superior judgment that allowed him to take that mark.
So Simpson just saying, come on, boys, let's slow this down. There's another goal in the quarter, so the Blues. And let's make sure it's us. Judd off the pack, grabbed maybe without the ball umpire, let it go, which was a good decision. The handball came out from Warnock. Great play by Garland again. Just found a bit of space. Time to get the long kick in. Off hands. Yaron's kick is a beauty. Look at this. Oh, it's not. I thought it was going nuts.
Some carry on
that spot. It just took off a little bit, didn't it?
You like the spoil on Rutten.
It's like a Super Bowl going off him. Just had that extra bit.
Yeah, it had the curve on it. Hey, Rutten's ability to spoil that was a body spoil. Just moved him under the footy without touching the ball, spoiled him on the mark.
So a minute 40 and ticking as we get to it now. Minute 45. Sloan marks, and they just cannot turn this over, the Adelaide Crows. They cannot give Carlton another shot at another goal to take them 40 points up at half-time.
Spoke's been good.
He's kicked it to the right spot, Sloan, but off hands. Robinson has been excellent. There's still time for Carlton to get that goal to really crunch this game. Scotland around on the 180, up towards Lucas. Grab without the ball. Good spoil from behind, though, from Yinch. And it's over line out of bounds on centre wing. A minute 22, still time for a score.
It's got to be an Adelaide score as far as the Crows are concerned. 6 goals down at half-time. If they can't get a major here, and Sloan, you know, he's going to give it everything. McKay slides through half forward, tried to dab the pass and place it on the chest of Jenkins. Now it's Petrenko, who's hopelessly outnumbered, and he had no real opportunity. Scotland, trouble here.
Away.
Yeah, they might wind their way through here, the Blues. Gibbs was able to give. Kerno now has to just tread a little bit of water and wait. And on the bounce, a bit of a worry there for Rowe. Forced to give it up, but it got back into Carlton hands. Kerno, his wings were clipped. Laird, free kick, advantage paid. Vince takes it. Jenkins going to work his to give away the free. He didn't, and then he just couldn't get the ball back. Scotland, and now they're away through Simpson, who's played quite deep in defence and been quite effective.
This first kick here, Hutto, they're hitting, that first exit kick is too easy at the moment. They've got to get there and shut that down. Their wingmen have got to get to that defensive position earlier for the Adelaide Crows.
Judd for Carlton. We'll be talking to Patrick Dangerfield in about 18 seconds' time. David King will be out there on the ground talking to the Adelaide Crows star and finding out just what they can do with Taylor Walker injured and gone for the rest of the game.
Gibbs is up to 15 possessions, but he's literally got a sweeping roll across the half-back line where he gets to run his own race. Now, he's had 8 kicks, 7 handballs, but he's just hitting the target with monotonous regularity.
Robinson again, and that'll be it for the first half of football. And they've stemmed the bleeding a little bit, the Adelaide Crows, but they have got a lot of work ahead. Down 2 men on the bench at the moment. Taylor Walker, their star full forward, off with a knee injury. It's 35 points the difference at half-time. Carlton a 9-5-59. Adelaide 3-6-24. Let's go down to David King.
Patrick, what's going through your mind? You see the scoreboard read the way it does. You know you're down your gun forward, Taylor Walker, and probably one more rotation on the bench. What's going through your mind?
Yeah, we are. It just means we have to be really careful the way that we use the ball going forward. Especially in the first quarter, they were able to get numbers back and really get uncontested mark change. So it's going to be important for us in the second half to really use the ball well going forward, not bomb it down the line. We've also got to get back square with the clearances in the centre bounce. So if we can play the ball in our half, just use it a bit better, we'll get ourselves back in the game.
When you get into the rooms here, these players are going to want to hear from you. You're their driver, you're their leader. What's going to be your message to them as an emotional message?
Well, look, the first half's done. We can't worry about that. It hasn't gone as planned. We'd like to play better, but it's done. So we're going to refocus ourselves, really steel ourselves to the contested ball, because if we can win that, that's where it all starts, and get ourselves back in the game.
Good luck, mate.
Thanks, King.
Patrick Dangerfield, great interview with David King, with Taylor Walker, man who's kicked 163 career goals in his 69th game off, as you can see, with an injury for the rest of the game. It is Carlton by 35 points.
Here's Andrew Walker. He's disposal efficiency 89%. He seems to be settled in defence at the moment. Mick seems to be happy with him being probably the deeper one, bringing the ball out and being that spare at times.
Well, you have a look. I mean, this is Mick's game plan. Apart from this one right in the middle of the back of the square there, everything else is inside back defensive 50 or right up to the wing. So he will run hard and run past, but not a heap of contested footy there. So he's done well in the contested situation, but still will run offensively.
So a real test of steel and character here for the Adelaide Crows in the second half.
Sloan starting at full forward, so maybe they'll rotate the midfield through for full forward, the Adelaide Crows.
He's on, Eddie.
Eddie Betts is on, so we'll have a look at that moment as Lucas comes in. The first kick, basically, at goal is through for
Bryce Gibbs.
Yeah. Kingy, Eddie, was there any injury concern over Bryce Gibbs, or they just flipped the switch?
I just think they've pulled him off the ground and just to give him a little rest for half of football at this stage, and it's Eddie time and we can't wait.
Yeah, that would suggest that even Mick says, pretty comfortable with the way this is going.
Well, he much is going all out attack here. Thanks very much for Eddie time too, mate.
We needed a bit more Eddie into the action this afternoon.
2 heads are better than one.
9-6 and 3-6. Half forward. Well, I mean, it's a even though they are so far ahead, that is a brave call. If it's just a call on, he wants to give Betts a half a footy.
There's a free kick.
Paid.
We have a look at this as we pull back. We see Henderson, Talia, and then Riley all sitting on the back of the contest there, leaving Simpson. Now he's going to sneak in behind here. He could get a cheapie. He could get a cheapie.
Oh, it sneaks through. It's dangerous as always. But hurry kick is away from behind for Yaron.
He saw that unfold to Simpson, and you could see him try and slice through to that open spot when Riley pushed up hard to the back of the contest.
So this is the way Mick loves it being played, in his forward 50. Nice kick out, though, from Henderson.
So Warnock's got to do better than that. He's got to read that one. He's got to see the fullback motioning towards him. He did run straight at him. That big source from the goal square was telegraphed that he was going to direct it to him.
Jacobs right. Henderson now dashes back from fullback up to the half-back flank. Nice kick up to the half-forward flank position. Punched away there by Jamison. Rory Sloan has been fantastic from 55. The long bomb needs a good bounce, doesn't get it. Walker. Petrenko puts the pressure on. Walker keeps it going. Petrenko pushes him out of the way, then falls over. Then a little chip kick forward is a good one. And it'll be the player here in Douglas who will line up from 35 metres, a slight angle, and must kick this goal.
He hasn't found much of the pill today, Jared Petrenko. He's only had the 3 possessions, but that's exceptional defensive pressure. He didn't give away the free kick. He knew that Walker was at full tilt, trying to control the footy. Just a little nudge knocked him off balance, and then when he recovered the footy, he didn't blaze away, he just chipped it inboard.
One of the anomalies of the game too. If that was a marking contest, that would have been hands in the side, free kick.
Douglas, normally a beautiful kick, comes in, needs to kick this for his team, and he has done exactly that. So the fist pump was there. First goal of the quarter at Adelaide.
Did very well, didn't lose his composure either. Once he gathered the ball back in, just there's the Sloan kick in, and just gets caught on that little breeze there. Fluky, and as he comes around, takes him on. Always sceptical of the blokes who have a tackler and handball it out in front of themselves. The only bloke I've ever seen do that with success was number 35 for Collingwood. Peter Dacos used to be a magician at it.
So the margin 31. There's no sign of Bryce Gibbs, Kingy, down there at this stage, is there? So I wonder if there is a problem that we didn't know about.
There'd have to be. You wouldn't sub him at half
You
time.
wouldn't think so.
Have to be.
I'll head down and have a look, boys. He might be just having an early shower. It used to go cold here, Ed, a long time ago.
We're not at Moorabbin.
Sensational Victoria Park, circa 1955.
Here's Douglas. Maybe the Crows have got a little rev up and they're responding here at the MCG. Tui takes the grab. And gives some respite there to their defenders. Murphy poking the kick across. Margin 31, Garlett.
Honestly, the MCC need to hire a wedge-tailed eagle.
Quickly
Clear up these
back out to the wing. They did it last year, didn't they?
seagulls. Well, that was Melbourne Park.
High kick to half forward from Betts in front row. But couldn't take it. Here's Yaron. Waiting game again, but gets through to Carrazzo. Had time, just had the sights on the goals, but right on the last line of Dangerfield.
Quick turn, unload. He's got men on.
He has. Lynch has to wait a little longer than he would have liked, but it's pretty comfortable for him in the end, and the Crows can rebound off halfback. The lead is 31 points for Carlton.
Really good kick.
Beautiful kick. He had to give it everything.
Got Otten on.
Douglas out the back. Well played, Jace. Keep going, keep going, keep going. He does. He runs into the open goal. They've got the first two of the third quarter. Great effort by the Adelaide Crows. Fantastic effort, back to within 25 points.
Well, the key to that passage of play was that he kept playing on, Dermot, because we didn't know what would happen if he had to go back and have a set shot after his first two efforts in the second term. But what he does do is create movement, Andy Otten. Whether it's up and back, lateral movement, you can see him following the ball all the way in. He had a 5 or 10 metre break and then just plays on and makes sure of it.
Didn't strike it all that sweetly from the goal square either. He's just crept over 50 games in his career. We know he had that knee injury. So he's in his 52nd game, and it's the first time in those 50-plus games that he's got more than one goal.
And a great time to bring it up too, because he needs to stand up. Andy Otten, fantastic performance. Gets his second, first two goals to the Adelaide Crows, and believe it or not, they've kicked the last 3 or 4 goals scored in the match.
And it's on now, out of the middle. It's a free kick, though. It's
the umpire from outside the square, a good 50 metres away, paid it. Now, that's one where he shouldn't call that from outside 50. He did go over, but the closest umpire saw that Carrazzo dropped to his knees to duck that.
Yeah.
And the closest umpire said, no, you ducked it. And the further one has blown the whistle, so they're obligated to pay it.
Carrazzo bombs away. Riley, Judd, handball. He's a step ahead of the others, Judd. And that should be no surprise. Scotland within range. He's such a beautiful kick. And he's got the Carlton fans up on their feet again.
That kid was intense. He does that. It's a great goal. Jason, we know when you're right footer and you're kind of running away from the goal, at the end, the ball will tail with a bit of left to right on it, and it opens up. So his body's moving to the forward pocket. Right now, it starts to break left to right. You watch it. Now it's bending.
Really good finish.
Great angle too.
Absolute beauty. And Heath Scotland knew he was going to put that through from the moment he got the ball, didn't he? Head over the ball and just brought it in beautifully from left to right. Great kick.
You actually are aiming to hit the opposite post, the opposite goal post, and it will tail back in.
And it was Chris Judd again who made that play for the Carlton side. So ending the run of 2 goals in a row for the Adelaide Crows and back out to a 31-point margin of another ball up.
The one thing they are still missing, the Carlton Football Club, is a tall marking target inside their forward 50. They've only taken 3 marks inside their forward 50 today, and it's been the smalls, McLean, Lucas and Simpson.
Yeah, they've run onto that type of mark too. It hasn't been a contested scenario.
So Warnock got the tap there. Curnow and Sloan having their own private war. Curnow tagging Sloan at the moment, it would seem. Certainly picking him up in those forward breaks. Sloan was grabbed without the ball. Should have got the free kick. Carrazzo, always hard at it. He's had a great game today. And Douglas over the top has been very good as well. So a bit of a breather for Chris Judd. Carrazzo wide-eyed. Throw up. Dangerfield, the third man up. Does it well. Knocks it down. Henderson, Tui for Carlton. Spills out the back to White, who recovered from being cleaned up early on. Nice play by Walker. Gets it back to Armfield. Armfield's kick is a good one to White. So White looked like he had anything from broken ribs to a broken shoulder or a broken collarbone, but he's recovered from them all.
He had a solid winding, I suggest.
And he's played well today. Talia got the fist on it. McLean, hard play and a hard handle, just missed his teammate. Armfield in again. Carrazzo out to Robinson. Robinson on the left foot. It's a beauty. Right out in front of his teammate. Yaron just picks it up off the bootlaces. Good tackle though. Got the handball away. In goes Riley over the top of it. He's in a bit of trouble. Needs to get this out. It does. Comes out enough.
That's a real duck of the head.
Yaron's in there again, and we'll have a ball up close to the boundary line. Good effort there by all players, and it's at half-forward flank for Carlton.
One thing Wright didn't do, he had a feed out the back, and he didn't hear the call. See the man out the back there? He's sitting by himself. He can control that if he feeds it back straight away.
If they won possession, Cade Simpson would have kicked the goal. I've never seen a bloke hang in the corridor on his own for longer than Cade Simpson was.
Well, there he is there, trying to sweep forward in case it does come his way. It's not going anywhere just at the moment. So that's a heavy play at the moment. Plenty of tackles being laid early in this third quarter. 10-7 plays 5-6 at the MCG. Carlton seemingly in control at half-time, but the Crows a little rejuvenated. It's play like this that'll get them going. Who better than Dangerfield and Sloan too?
So there's two pushing the backs there.
Yeah, high and in the back on Sloan, surely. It was incredible strength from Dangerfield. He drew in 2 or 3 tackles. Have a look at this. He's got his tagger in Armfield and he breaks a few. A great hand pass, and Sloan just left it behind. And now given away a free kick.
It's coming back from Curnow to Murphy. Big little sidestep.
Shank.
Yeah, off the boot. And Robinson just popped up at the right place.
I reckon he actually fashioned that then, Murphy. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt.
Been kind, Ed.
You're very kind, Ed.
Garazzo, Armfield. And that's just a little bit of a push against Dangerfield, who reckons he got all ball. But then they generally do reckon that.
How have you seen this battle, Derm? You've got Dennis Armfield, who's coming in for possession number 14. Dangerfield's had 15 and hasn't kicked a goal.
I don't think Armfield hurts that much going the other way. Dangerfield can be very damaging, but if you look at Armfield's always been thereabouts, and kicking efficiency of the 12 of Dangerfield's kicks, he's taken him down to 67%. So he's actually pressured him into 4 mongrel kicks. So he's done all right.
There'll be some pain for Carlton with that goal for the Crows. If that goal goes through, and it does.
So Dangerfield's therefore has 8 effective kicks. So that's a well done to Armfield, but still been good value, Dangerfield. So it's a pretty even sort of contest there between.
He watched the ball all the way back then, running with the flight of a Dangerfield, and
Just a little bit of body contact at the end.
marginal. I'd nearly like to see that let go, because he didn't chop the arms, he didn't crash into his body.
It's been a real win today for Carlton, the job of Matthew Warnock in the ruck. You can just see there the scores that he's been able to create from stoppages. 6 goals to 1, 22 clearances to 14. It's that first possession we keep talking about, which is now up to 28-12.
So Sloan gets the centre break, gets it back, wobbles it inside 50, and Carlton will walk this out again. Simpson just seems to be playing on his own out there today.
Just got no small forward presence, Adelaide. When the ball hits the ground, there's nothing there except Carlton numbers.
Well, they're worried about the score at the other end, so they're shoving numbers back, and that's those 2 small forwards. You think they're pushing back up the field.
Murphy's kick almost intercepted by Douglas, which was great play, but now Carlton are away. Tui, who's a booming kick, goes to half forward and kicks it long and strong. That is a magnificent kick from Zach Tui. And Eddie Betts, who was subbed onto the ground for Bryce Gibbs, comes in for his first kick. They love him. He's back.
If Eddie didn't mark it, Gale would have. It was a beautiful kick over the top. I think both Adelaide defenders just underestimated what Zach Tui was capable of with the footy.
A lethal kick from Zach Tui. And in comes Eddie Betts to kick Carlton's third on the trot and take him to a game-high lead. He comes in and does all of that. And the Blues are leading by 43 points.
You even take into account Pierce Hanley's acceleration as a player, or step up in footballing terms, Ty Kennelly, but you can still see the vestige, the slight action of a Gaelic football kick in there. Zach Tui's completely lost it. Of all the Irish blokes playing our game at the top level, he has completely lost that Gaelic action.
And here there is Bryce Gibbs. They've just pulled up a little short after a mark late in the second quarter. We'll have a look back and see what we can find. But we suspect he is injured. Here's the spinning move from Henderson. Quick kick forward from Jacobs. respond and respond quickly. Simpson, Warnock, dumped it back. Kick up to the wing.
Oh, they've got run and spread now.
Collected by Murphy. It's danger time, isn't it, for the Crows at the moment? Smith doing his best to corral Murphy, but they've got all the answers. Robinson, good reinforcement from behind. Henderson to half forward. Crows with an extra here, but it almost didn't matter because Garlett was playing it on his own terms. Now he's having to lay a big tackle. We're going to have a bounce.
That was a free in the NAB Cup.
Yep.
No one there for Warnock. Judd just walks it straight over the line.
He buffets his own man over the boundary.
Walker with 21 disposals for Carlton. Scotland 19. Sloane with 18 has the most for the Adelaide Crows. Margin stands at 43. And the Blues are just starting to click into gear. Andrew Walker, high ball up towards the 50, and away it goes from McLean. And when I say that, I mean last week and this week, and maybe they're sending a bit of a signal that they can be dangerous this year.
Absolutely. Hey, Kingy, Rory Sloane's just come off. He is as close to a rabid footballer as I've ever seen, a bloke who just wants to give 100% every contest.
And he's probably been their best player for 2013. He's trying his hardest. It's not working at the moment. The one thing their midfield is doing is failing to create some scores this year. That's no fault of Rory's. If they keep at that attitude, or with that attitude, I should say, then it will turn for them. The problem is, what will the wins and losses be at that stage?
Yeah. So Laird, who came on for the injured Walker earlier, and of course Taylor Walker, if you've just tuned in, we believe that he's done his posterior cruciate ligament, which is a 6 to 10 week injury. Judd does beautifully there, over the top to this man who no one will pick up today, and he turns the ball over himself, but Simpson is just getting plenty of it.
He thought he was Mark Browning then.
Did he?
Yeah, I thought he kicked one from 75.
The loping left foot kicked in.
Yeah.
What a kick he was.
Lynch brings the ball into the corridor. It's a lovely kick, and Bernie Vince takes the mark. Now the Crows go inside 50. Jamison does well. Push Jenkins underneath the ball. Carlton got the players at the fall of the ball. They get into each other's back there. He's gone. Lucas has to be. Umpire has to pay it. It was there for an eternity. Should have been a free kick to Adelaide.
They wait too long.
Too long, that one, umpire. Had his own man got into the back of him. Should have been an Adelaide free kick. Watch this again. So Betts cleaned him up. He's dragged the ball in. He's sitting on top of it. Anyway, we've got a ball up.
And another. So the Crows, can they jag one here? Because the Blues are looking very ominous at the moment. Thompson had to take on about 4. What a load to carry. Talk about doing the heavy lifting. They need some help at the moment. Rory Sloane's had a little rest. He's the most likely to inspire them. Warnock really making the #1 ruck position his own in the absence of Cruiser. Good desperation from Laird. Plucky. Good tackle too, as he was able to hold Brock McLean. 17 disposals from Brock McLean. Jacobs. It is some sort of clear space, but there's not much room at the moment to move. But Douglas found some and then gave to Jens. So the Crows needing everyone to help out. Jens, another defender getting forward to put a goal through.
I want to say good balance, Jason. You look at that, just the delivery, the last 2 or 3 steps before he unloads by foot, Jens. They're tiny little steps. Let's have a look. Just really shores them up, just so he stays balanced. Didn't want to go overstride and get too close to the man in front.
What I like is he kicked a drop punt. He didn't run out to the side like a lot of them do and just kick it around the corner because he was settled. He just kicked a normal kick.
Kingy.
In 2013, Ed, it's been about ruck impact, which has been the big problem for the Adelaide Crows. And Robbie Warnock's come back into this side and slipped straight back in. You can see his numbers there. He's had a fantastic start. in this last couple of weeks. Their performance last week really set up Carlton's offensive thrust going forward. It was a great win in Perth. He's backed that up again today. And it's the damage that they're doing, not necessarily the flat numbers for Carlton.
Well, they're charging out of the middle, looking to build on those numbers again. Murphy's kick, Talia just slightly off balance. Rowe. Carlton fans, I'm sure, would love him to drag a mark down or two. Laird kicks to the wing and kicks with good control and finds Leach, the former Saint, driving to centre half forward. He's in his second game for the season as Leach. Murphy, Sloan, just whatever's in his road.
I've got to give him a pat on the back here. Look, last year we heard about Adelaide under Brenton Sanson came in. They beefed up, they toughened up, they did all that boxing work and the likes, and they're a good contested possession team. They are now going down 103 contested possessions to 70 as we look at this one going. And Sloan and Dangerfield have got 20 between them. That leaves 50 for the rest of the team tonight.
Petrenko did all the hard work, but the finishing touches would not apply.
No, the kicks left them exposed, unfortunately.
McLean feeding Lucas. They've got the jump ahead, but Lucas is going to take it on and go solo. Really, all he did was give Adelaide a chance to cover the bases ahead, so it's out of bounds. Touch of the Matthew Pavliches about his Kane Lucas. No support for me.
Not a lot there, Anthony. There he is. Pav, Lucas, as he gets the ball back. Umpire said out of bounds. We'll have a throw in pretty much on centre wing.
You're covering the death stare, the evil stare from Dunstall.
Just facial, not in the way he plays.
Thompson, 14 disposals.
Okay.
Sloan with 18 would be leading the best and fairest for the Adelaide Crows. He's been their most consistent midfielder for the season. Dangerfield, of course, draws the accolades, and why would he? He's a beautiful player, but he's had a couple of ups and downs this year, as is Thompson. But Sloan has been the man who's been right to the fore in every game this year for the Adelaide Crows, and he's done it again today. In the meantime, Rutten's got it at half-back flank, trying to get those arms loose. It's like a swarm out there. The Blues all over them. Rowe gets the handball to Robinson, to Carazzo, who kicks right to the spot. The hot spot there coming through was Betts. He knocks it out the back, and that's why they call it the hot spot, because Garlett gets the kick and puts it through. Great play, Betts, Judd and Garlett.
I don't want to be too critical, but I put that goal down to an extremely poor tackle from Jared Petrenko. Yep. It was Carlton getting the stoppage at half back, and he's playing half forward. He had him cold. Scotland didn't even know that Petrenko was there. He came in and half bumped him and fell to the ground. Didn't take Scotland with him. Didn't take the ball from the contest. Ball goes the other end. They kick a goal. Should never have been there.
In actual fact, he had the chance to win Scotland's night.
When we talk about contested possessions, Ed, last year the Adelaide Crows were plus 12, number 1 in the competition, and that has been a significant drop-off this year, and today especially is minus 36. That is some sort of fall down of around 50 contested possessions per game when you only average about 130.
Blues are hungry for more too, you can see that. Thump away Henderson, Rowe. Okay, try to get in there. Rowe's follow-up work was good.
And to compound that, Kingy, as I said before, there were 69 contested possessions about 2 minutes ago, and Sloan and Dangerfield had 20 between them. That leaves, well, take Walker out of it even. 19 players with 50 contested possessions for the match between 19 players in 2.5 quarters.
And the big strength last year was the spread of midfielders sharing the load, and that was why they rose back up the ladder so quickly. But that hasn't happened this year for some reason. I'm not sure whether Brenton's got the answers at this stage.
Carazzo
again.
Deep. Garlett, Laird.
He's been sensational, Andrew Carazzo, tonight. 7 contested possessions. He's at 81%, 82% efficiency. He's had 16 touches, and he's kicked a goal, and he's doing it under the packs. He's doing everything. He's in there again. Look at that. Got the ball out. He'll set up another goal here. Judd, twisting and turning. He set the last one up, Carazzo, and Judd just missed to the near side. But he has been absolutely in everything.
Is the damn wall about to break here, do you think, Dern?
They're still trying. They've still got a few blokes who are having a real dig, and some of the others aren't quite up to it. At true league level, if you want to call them at the top.
It's an adventurous kick.
Yeah. Very optimistic, but it might turn their way because this man will give you 100% time and time again, Sloan charging through, taking on all comers, and
Still over it.
yeah, he's gone to ground, unfortunately, which might mean he gets pinged. But the umpire said, no, I'm not going to pay a free against you, Rory. I like your work.
You know what? He had to go down onto all fours because he couldn't hold himself up through exhaustion. The boy from up in the hills.
Good to be more specific, Dan.
Well, I think he's Upway, wasn't he? That's where he came from.
Up that way.
No. He's from Upway, Tacoma. Yeah, that's where he originally came from. Eastern under 18. I tell you what, he plays like a boarding school kid looking for a feed in a big mess hall. It's going to be his last time at the table.
A little bit of a misadventure, and it's Kerridge that picks it up. High ball, Lynch.
2-on-1.
In the wrestle with White, and here is the second of the two. Robinson trying to use that numerical advantage, but you better watch out, White. The crowd thought it was too high. Lynch almost wrenched the ball away. In the end, the umpire's going to have to intervene.
Yeah, good effort from all concerned there. Lynch did well. Ford back against the numbers. Hampson gets the tap. Vince just smothered over the line. Got his boot on it over us at the boundary umpire for a free kick to the Blues in the back pocket.
What do you think in the medium term if Walker is out 6-10? Adelaide will do? Do they go to a Sean McKernan or something like that?
Yeah, he's the first one I thought of.
Again, he's not really a key forward. He's more a ruck forward, isn't he?
Yeah,
The key forward next week.
they're running out of him though.
Douglas, who's kept trying. Beautiful kick on the left foot. Great stuff. And Bernie Vince will go back and have a shot for his second goal.
The other thing Adelaide are missing, they're missing a Porplesia in form, who was dropped for this week, who's really important to their forward makeup. Graham Johncock, they're missing him as well. They need someone at ground level with a bit of bite, a bit of pace, and kick a couple of goals.
So McKay coming out and taking a good mark on his chest under pressure from Murphy. So a big kick. Needs to put this one through for the Adelaide Crows from 35. He runs wide and then pulls it left and misses from 30 metres out. Jason, what did he do wrong?
Everything, Ed. You called it. But once you run right at the target, it means you've got to hook the ball back. And it then becomes a matter of whether you hook it back too far, not enough, or just right. So it's a little bit hit and miss. You just got to keep everything aligned.
And just right probably been the hardest of those three options on that hook.
Riley with the collect. Gets it in, keeps it in Adelaide hands. Thompson dabbing the pass, finding right.
Have you look at this? No one leads at him. Look, everybody. Oh, you got one player. Lynch is the only one. It's a half lead.
It's a bit of a half-baked kick, hoping that Sloan might jump up and take the mark, and he very nearly did.
Did it again, Sloan. Great play.
Good tackling from Jenkins to try and lock it in. Murphy refused to be rushed. Kicked it quickly, though. As it turned out, it went straight to Brodie Smith, who takes the mark.
Very packed inside 50 now.
It's going to go close to go all the way. Very close wasn't enough. Jamison thumped it through. And the margin is 42.
Sometimes, boys, when your footy club flattens out like this, you just need to release the shackles. Ed, we talked about this the other night, just maybe doing something different through the week to keep the emotion and the spirits up. You know, talk about comedians and nights out, dinners, that sorts of thing, just to keep things bubbling along. They look like they're really flat today, the Crows.
Yeah. What he could nearly have been paid the mark, Rory Sloan, a minute ago.
I was thinking that too. He actually brought it to the chest and did a rotation in the air while holding it.
There's been marks this weekend paid for less. There's no doubt about that. This time it's Bernie Vince. His kick was smothered. Needs to go again. That's a free kick. Has to be a free kick.
It's got him in a headlock. Have a look, it's still got him in a headlock.
Put him in a sleeper hold there at the moment. Just tipped the mat to be let up.
He's tapped himself out.
In any danger, you can let me breathe.
And trying to put the figure four leg lock on him.
They're doing grappling down there at Carlton. Good stuff by White. All right, Riley's got the shot here.
Simon White thought he was Mick Foley.
Carlton Mahunga would have been happy with that.
Boxer Kahun Mahunga.
Well, Dunstall was known as Rusty Brooks there for a while.
So Riley comes in to make the margin 6 goals. Good kick. Is it? Or is offline? It's 2 that missed from 35 metres out. And they've just got to kick those, the Crows. They cannot be profligate at all in front of the goals.
Margin 41 now. Big thumping kick in from Walker. And the Blues suddenly at half forward. Rowe and Talia continue to tangle. And all Rowe's got to do is just keep it bubbling for a sec because they're on the charge, the Blues. Lucas setting it up, but there's no one back. Smith, an uncomfortable moment while he had to let it bounce. Stretches the handball to Laird. Stumpy Laird runs out of defence. Kicks it up to the wing, and Scotland's going to take the mark unencumbered. And quickly takes it into the middle, where White was lining up, and he gives it plenty. One for someone to run and try and take a grab, but no one had any room to run. There's Laird again. Robinson. Judd. Would have been holding the ball. Garlett, a hard man to contain at the best of times, but Laird was able to do it.
Well done, son. Just kept at it that time. Kept with his opponent.
So Laird gets the ball out to Vince. To Yench. Takes his full measure. Kicks to a 1-on-1 on the wing position. Douglas has had a great game tonight. He's a good player. So Douglas's kick up to the forward pocket position. Otten pushed underneath it by Jamieson. Good play. Handball out to Simpson. Simpson looks up, not much on, so he goes up the line. And Rutten will safely see this over the line and out of bounds for a throw in at half-forward flank for the Blues.
The big trucker squirts it over the line. We talk about the nicknames. I love the blokes who have a nickname, and the nickname is based upon their body shape. The blokes get called the brick.
Yeah,
The truck.
Scotland gets the ball out. Nice play. Warnock to Robinson. Robinson's long kick. It's over Hampson's head. There he is again, the truck. And the bip, 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 bip going there as he moved backwards and took the mark.
Heavy load in reverse.
Out it goes to Smith.
Who gallops away with a bounce. Settled on Yench. He takes the mark. And the siren sounds to win the third quarter, which was one just of consolidation for the Blues. And they're certainly on their way to 2 consecutive wins here. Mick Moldhouse would have to be pleased overall with what he's seen.
Well, they won that quarter by a goal. I felt they were a better team than that, and Adelaide probably could have pegged it back better with more accurate kicking. They probably should be further ahead, is what Mick would be thinking right now.
Well, that's the story of the night there. Taylor Walker, we believe, looking at a stint on the sidelines of 6 to 10 weeks, and at the moment the Crows are in big trouble. They trail by 41 points at the MCG. From what we've seen tonight, what are our assessments? We'll talk through this in the last quarter of Carlton. How good can they be? We know they're, in terms of age bracket and experience, they are a very experienced team. They've got players in the right ages with the right amount of experience to do some damage. So
to me, bank the win, walk away, don't try and rate too much about it until they start getting a key forward who takes marks.
Yeah, they don't take marks in their forward 50.
Douglas into that 50 area for Adelaide. Was that high from Walker? It was. So big chance for the Crows here through Petrenko. Hasn't been able to have too much impact on the game. He's laid 3 tackles and had just 4 disposals.
Yeah, the right arm's over the shoulder.
At the moment, it looks like it will be only one of either Rowe or Casbolt. Casbolt looks a little bit more likely to take an overhead mark in the forward line, but he's less manoeuvrable if the ball hits the deck and thereafter.
Of course, they're all hoping that it's Jared Waite.
Yep, that's home.
It's only just home, but it is. And it's back to 35 points. So they could put a couple of quick ones on the board. Who knows? Carlton might get a bit nervous in this last quarter.
Well, the problem was, as Dermot was saying earlier, just inaccuracy in front of goal. When they were 6-9, if they were 9-6, you're all of a sudden close enough to just fashion some sort of charge if you get on a little bit of a roll. But unfortunately, too many easy or regulation set shots have been missed over the journey today by the Crows.
So Jared Petrenko gets the first goal within 48 seconds of the opening bounce. In this final term, Carlton lead by 35 points. They led by 28 at quarter time. And so often you see that first quarter break often being about the margin roughly at the end of the game, despite teams making comebacks. But we'll see what happens, because Carlton got all the run and all the play at the moment. Bryce Gibbs off, we believe, injured, or at the very least rotated at the halfway mark of the game, which would be unusual. Certainly for Mick Moldhouse, who likes to keep them on as long as possible.
bit high. Just on that centre bounce before, he's going to let this one play on. Adelaide are trying to get a 7-man defence, trying to get a loose man in defence, and Nick Malthouse is manning up that player rather than allow them the free man in defence.
Tell you what, he looks as good as any forward we've seen out on the ground, Andy Ott, and he's a defender. He is leading beautifully.
Well, we get to enjoy watching him shoot for goal with a set shot here too.
And he's going to have to give it everything because he'll kick from right on 50.
That probably helps him, doesn't it?
Just for the guys down in the van, can you make sure you get a behind the goal look at this action and see which side of the foot he drops the ball? I'm tipping it'll go to the instep.
Director Chris Law can go home. Dermot doing everything tonight. Here comes Otten.
He's going to play there in a regular way, Jason. He probably needs to address that little element of the game.
Yeah.
Well, have a look, Jace. What's going on here?
The run's okay. It's a high ball drop. And he doesn't get it off the instep, so he just pulls it to the left. But you get the feeling he's hoping to kick the goal instead of expecting to kick the goal when he comes in.
There's not a lot of steadiness between hand and foot, though.
Warnock and Judd were able to collaborate on that one. And now Carazzo and Judd, who powers on through the middle. Happy to share and share alike through to Curnow, who waited till McLean was in the best spot, but just didn't quite get there for the mark. He's got Rutten there. He's not too worried about him. Which was good for Brock, just centering ball, but there's Scott Thompson with a reinforcement for the Crows in defence. Jacobs was screaming for it. That was ignored.
Yeah, Thompson actually saw the encroaching man Simpson coming from behind, so he decided against the kick.
Betts just was able to worry Smith out of it. There's Sloan going for a bit of a ride on the back for Carazzo. And now he's just too far out to score. Didn't have a target other than Hampson, so that's where he settles on. He couldn't mark it. Laird got involved again, or Dangerfield, who was left in an uncomfortable position too. Murphy gave it straight back. Some good tackling though as the ball bubbles around. Murphy shakes off one, and now Brock McLean. He's pretty good from there. We've seen him kick crucial goals from that angle. And that's his second.
They'll be disappointed, Adelaide. I mean, they had control of the footy to start with. It's a poor hand pass that put Dangerfield under pressure. And then when you've got the ball on the boundary line and you've got a couple of attempted tackles, to allow it to come back in field and have an uninterrupted shot for goal, that's pretty disappointing, the defensive setup there.
One thing you did mention, he's very good from there, and I'm convinced that inside midfielders, when they get into this sort of situation, they're so used to being in tight circumstances, think quickly, they make the right decision.
He's had a good night too. Brock McLean, 22 disposals, 10 score involvements, 2 goals, 1. He's had a great night, Brock McLean, and great play there by the skipper. Murphy shrugging, holding the ball, getting it back after he gave it up the first time, and just giving it to Brock McLean, who was able to fashion a banana from close range. McLean in again. Simpson unable to get the pick up. Tui sits for him.
He's had a great night too.
Oh, he's good with one hand. He controls it well too. It's like a basketballer who's got that soft hands when it sits up.
He strikes me as somebody who would be actually physically really strong. He's not a huge guy. He's not small though.
Hard. He's a hard man. There's no doubt about it.
He's your 187 centimetres, 6'1.5" type, and there's a bit of him.
Petrenko ran for the ball. Scotland just watched him, watched his eyes to figure out where the ball was. Did it well.
Bounce.
Sits for Simpson. Yench did well on the tackle, but there's too many blues. And in the end, it's Walker who just chips the ball out to his teammate in Jamison. Jamison gets the kind bounce. Looks up, not much on, so he decides to kick it in the man on the mark. And as a result of that, Curnow was able to get into position. They've got away. Got out of jail there, the Blues.
Well, there's always a Carlton player in support end. They're working harder. They're outnumbering Adelaide. And a little bit of that's the fact that Adelaide are down 2 rotations as well. We shouldn't forget that.
So they should.
Laird had McCain his sights.
They'll do well to hang on to 40 points here, Adelaide.
Blues have got an extra back. Scotland playing that role at the moment. He's going to be right in frame. He'll go up and he'll take... No, he didn't take the mark.
Hang on.
And so at the back, it's cruisy, easy street for Yench, who runs in and puts it through. It's his second.
It's the sort of goal where you're used to seeing Carlton kick. Someone out the back running into an open goal untouched, but this time it comes from Adelaide. The long bomb in really hasn't worked for them today, but he just roves it. He's front and square, picks it up. And maybe on that occasion, I feel the Carlton players were just a little bit happy to spectate as opposed to getting to the right spots.
Well, Walker should have done a little bit better shepherding the back in a pretend marking motion and really protect Scotland.
clearances, as you can see, 31 to 22, 46 points to 20, a result of that. But as I said, 28 points of difference at quarter time, and for all the mishaps that the Crows have had, they've only been beaten by a goal for the rest of the match. Robinson under pressure. Armfield has been great. My man Carazzo, he's been a ripper tonight. Kicks it inside 50. Murphy has to sit and wait. Smith has been good. Talia kicks it straight over the line out of bounds. So free kick to the Blues, just outside the 50 metres. It'll be Simpson.
So Simpson runs around on the arc and then cuts inside with the handball. Stand start from Murphy, a fair bit to sum up. Judd tries to fly. Rowe came late. Curnow bets. What's he up to this time? He's got it through.
Touch.
Is it touched? We might have a review here. No, it's just a behind.
What about Eddie's eyes lit up then? He thought, I can get through the impossible gap here.
But again, they kept it alive where they shouldn't have been able to. That's a concern for Adelaide's defence.
The kick in is clean enough. Lynch Marks wants to move it, and finally they get themselves sorted from half back. Henderson cuts in, trying to improve the angle, and gain a yard or two to get it safely to Otten.
Gee, finds space well, Andy Otten. His lateral movement's fantastic.
To Vince. Now Jensch again versus Tui. Not well. And he turned on the left.
Oh, what a finish.
Unflustered and puts it through for his third.
So just as I gave Zach Tui a rap, he's been done on the last two individual contests coming in.
It's a bit like the old junior footy days of backs to the forwards and forwards to the backs. They've got Jensch and Otten. A few others have had a chance down there. Jensch has kicked 3. Otten's kicked 2.
And the truck Rutten has scored it over the line. What's he playing full forward?
Well, I was going to say, well, he started as a full forward.
Centre half forward he was, yeah.
So the reason Rutten's been able to go forward, though, is because
Henderson.
They're not playing that many talls up forward for Carlton. It's really just Hampson and Talia's taking him.
And that was how the goal umpire saw it. Fantastic technology there. Eddie Betts was able to keep the ball in, didn't go clearly over the line and just touched through for a behind. But again, for all the great work by Carlton, they lead by a point from quarter time, with the Crows having been 2 men down from that stage. It's picked up by Walker around the body. So it's been a good fight back from the Adelaide Crows. McLean, Simpson on the left boot, just chips it high up in the air. Out they come. Hampson just, I don't know if he's losing the line or just...
He's got a glove a couple.
He's run under the ball all night, Hampson.
Well, he's getting hands to them.
Rutten on a long lead.
Carlton want to kick a goal next, because if Adelaide get one here, they might get a sniff.
He's run enough of it, the trap.
Good hands.
So Big Ben Rutten up the ground a little bit.
Now that's a big pair of shorts.
He fills them well too, doesn't he? Off hands.
Out the back, they're on again.
Here they go. Otten. Little handball inside.
Give.
Jenkins strolls in over the top. It took a while. The big sauce has got it.
It's happening.
You can't believe it. They've kicked 4 of the last 5 in the last 3, Adelaide.
What have we seen? They're actually playing a little bit like millionaires, Carlton. Look at those Carlton, but 4 blokes late to chase away from that scrap up of that contest there. And we've got 3 extra Adelaide players get out forward with the ball.
Well, this has come from nowhere. 23 points. What is Mick thinking right now? Poor boy. Carlton under pressure here.
Adelaide have kicked 6 of the last 8 goals, Anthony, and the last 3 in the last 4 minutes.
Well, can they swarm forward again? Garlick. Kerridge did well. Cleared the path. Douglas. Suddenly there's some urgency about the whole affair. Sloan to right. They're going to lay some tackles. That was high. Advantage? No. It's coming back.
They've been inside forward 56 times in this quarter, and they've had 5 scoring shots, but 4 of them have been goals. 4 goals won from 6 entries. Carlton are getting scored against once it gets in there.
So Lynch waiting. Got Rutten up at half forward as a target. Goes over his head and pretty comfortable for Henderson.
It makes a huge difference when you convert your opportunities, though, doesn't it? We saw them for 3 quarters miss the rare opportunities that came their way. Now all of a sudden they're converting.
The good thing from Adelaide, their prime movers aren't the ones that have been doing it. Sloane's just had the 1 touch in the quarter, and Dangerfield 2. McKay, so there's more of an upside to come. Petrenko's going to hit this hard. He was sliding in. Walker kept his feet, reaps the benefits. But the kick, the peril certainly hasn't passed yet. White had to hug in that mark, and he does it hard back. Margin 23. Some nervous moments for Carlton fans.
Oh, Robinson was on in the middle of the ground just screaming for it, and White looks at him and motions him to get to the boundary. He wasn't trusting himself to go up the middle.
No, I think the coach might have told him that one over the journey, Derm.
Absolutely.
Yeah, might have gone in a year ago. Not under Mick Malthouse, not in your life. And the mark's been paid to Carazzo at halfback flank.
Yeah, and no need to guard the corridor now.
Gee, the run stopped for Carlton, hasn't it? Very static.
So Carazzo's up and under to the wing position. It's one-on-one everywhere on the ground. And on cue, Dangerfield decides to present himself. Up it goes. Oh, he's marked it. Has he Lynch? Yes, he has.
Can he
Had
go
to
back?
sit.
Kick it.
And Durham, that was smart because the wind is swirling to that pocket.
Yeah,
and it's the old under-11s football. Stand on the side, the wind's blowing, the ball will come towards you. Stick your knee into the bloke's ribs and you take the mark. Here it comes.
There's an old Furphy in football always playing front. You know what? Sometimes you don't have to. If you actually can judge the wind and work out where the ball in its most likeliness is going to go, that's where you put yourself.
So inside left post from Lynch from this position. To make the margin 17 points inside 3 goals. He wobbles out to the right, he starts it, and it bends back. He's picked the spot perfectly. This is a remarkable comeback. 4 goals in a row for Adelaide Crows.
Well, the big difference for Adelaide is the ability to take marks inside their attacking 50. 10 marks in their attacking 50, just 4 at the other end. That's the weakness you said earlier, Derm. Don't get too carried away about Carlton until they can get some marking options up forward. But certainly Adelaide now with Lynch there getting the 2nd or 3rd best defender because Rutten's gone forward and Jacobs is having a stint. They look dangerous when they go forward.
Yeah. Because Ben Rutten is such a capable player, such a smart footballer. He's not moving quickly, but because he's running up at the ball carrier, he's dragging a bit of traffic with him and Henderson, which is leaving the likes of Lynch with 1 out contest to beat their man in marking contest.
Big turnaround out of the middle too in this quarter, and it goes again. The Crows are surging. They're back within 17. Petrenko, Judd, a steadying influence, and Carlton need one. They're crying out for the experience, and that they should have plenty of experience and leadership. Murphy, the captain, gets it to Simpson, to Jamison, brushes off a would-be tackler and sends it in long and deep, and McLean steals himself to try and get it and try and kick it, but it won't make it. Smith there on the last line he was open-minded whether to take it through or run on with it, but he's taken it through.
Oh, he was over the line or on the line. Didn't catch it. Umpire missed it.
Well, they need a bit of good fortune tonight. So they've had a few things go against them.
McKay to the wing. Jens couldn't. Scotland buried in there. Gets up and gets a free.
They found some run, Adelaide.
Yeah.
In actual fact, they're outrunning the Blues at the moment.
And there's plenty of time too. Halfway point of this last quarter. While they've got the momentum. Oh, there's another free to go Carlton's way.
They're winning more ball, Hutto. Their contested football has turned right around. 23-20 this quarter, so they've arrested the slide that was negative 36 at one stage to positive 3 this term.
Brock McLean, he put it out in front of the big fella Hampson, and he had a world of pain, but he was able to find some relief. McLean goes high again, try another ruckman. Warnock couldn't take it. Otten's back in defence, but it's Bernie Vince that comes up with the football, kicks it out for Lynch. They've found some inspiration, the Crows. Jenkins, can he get past? He can.
That's brilliant.
Look at this. He thinks he's Cooter running along the wings, rubbing it into the Blues fans. Jenkins, he's going to go again. Clint, where are you?
The Eastwood rule applies there more than ever before.
But Henderson was up for a smart play. Got it down. Robinson in haste. They need some steadiness, the Blues, at the moment. Maybe it's Chris Judd. Here's another Chris Judd moment. No. He's missed it to the left.
He'd done so well, Jenkins, and he just pushed the envelope too far.
He was thinking, what do they win for the goal of the year this year? Do they win he should win a truck.
Right about now, he should have kicked it.
It would have been magnificent if he had a Gary Owen to up and under.
Up and under. Would have been enough. Now the Blues are getting support. Another injury will get into King in a moment as Scotland lines up a beautiful kick, puts it right to the spot. 2-1-1. Oh, Riley takes as good a full-back mark as you'll ever see. Great stuff. This game has lifted.
Just held front spot strongly there.
It's Henderson that's injured, by the way.
He's in real trouble down here, Hutto. He's on all fours. He's just basically got to the bench on all fours. He's in real trouble.
Right to McKay. The ball sits. That truck has to do the big U-turn, and he does it beautifully over the top. Away they go. Yench. Nice little chip kick to Petrenko's got it. Yench has kicked 2 goals for the quarter. Petrenko's kicked 1. Decides to chip inside. Have done it beautifully.
Now, this boy's kicked beautifully all night.
Yench has kicked 2 this quarter, 3 for the game. And this to make it 4 for the night and get the margin back to 13 points with plenty of time on the clock.
Some nerves on the face of Mick Malthouse. Once again, the breakdown area in so many forward thrusts is that area between 50 and 70 out from goal, and it was Truck Rutten who was able to think his way through the contest.
Again, just inside that left goal post will get him home. He comes in and he sprays it. Sprays the kick, didn't at any stage get the ball to spin the right way, Jason.
Now, it's poor contact, poor delivery, hand to foot. But you've got to give credit to Adelaide. They're down to 1 rotation on the bench, and they are running themselves into the ground.
Oh, it's magnificent, this effort by them.
Walker to himself, gains an extra 10. His kick is not all that good. That's gathered by Riley. And now Douglas comes into the picture and thumps it deep. Scott Thompson entangled with Carrazzo, and he marked it. Oh, he didn't pay it. Well, thought it was possibly a free and then possibly a mark. It was neither. And so they keep playing.
Gee, it was a great one-on-one battle, and I thought he'd done enough body work, Scotty Thompson, to get Carrazzo out of the way.
Oh, it was high. No,
Just couldn't hold the ball.
mark it. So it goes on, and now it grinds to a halt, and the umpire says holding the ball.
He was stiff, Scotty Thompson.
He was stiff twice.
50, saying he was getting high contact there. Well, the issue for the Blues is they're only going to kick 1 goal to stop the run. They've only got 1 goal, kills the momentum, opens up the gap, probably puts Adelaide away, but they just don't look like kicking it at the moment, Carl.
44,500 people here, and there's a few Adelaide voices as well.
There's plenty. There's Rowe.
Simpson's been on his own for the entire match.
Yep. Scotland over the top. Simpson, have a look who's on. Yaron can go short to him. He did in the end, but Yaron's still a chance here. He's still a big chance. He breaks the tackle. He runs in and kicks the winner. He is an absolute ripper. Always a chance, and he nails it.
Actually feel for Brent Riley there, because I thought he did the right thing. Don't let Yaron step inside you and come back into play. You've got him right on the boundary line. Corral him, don't overcommit. But he just beats him on the boundary line. It's just too slippery.
He thumped the turf too in despair.
He had every right to feel that he had him boxed in there.
Just needed to stick the tackle.
So a great goal to Chris Yaron, but the Adelaide fans will be screaming on a 12-point turnaround opportunity from that Thompson free kick that wasn't paid.
It's now 4 goals, a daunting task for the Crows. Carlton will be certainly happy to get away with this one with the 4 points. Rowe thumped it down. Douglas jammed it on the boot. They're not going to give in. Walker has had a wonderful game, but he's got Otten to deal with here, and he deals with him and kicks it to the boundary line. Leading the race, trying to get onto it was McKay, but he's beaten point blank by McLean. Lynch is, I think he's playing the best football I've seen him play at senior level. And certainly the Blues on the bench when they saw that goal. Look at this, Mitchie Robinson pretty happy with it.
Well, they were feeling the pressure, no doubt about that.
Feeling the pitch, throw in. Rowe got there, but Crows try to sweep it forward. It's out of bounds.
And Douglas picks himself up. He has not stopped trying all day.
Gee, they've been brave, Adelaide.
They've had 75 less disposals, the Crows.
Yeah, but they've taken marks inside forward 50. That's the big difference why they've scored.
Rory Sloane having another go. Murphy tries to punch it away. Robinson who's been hard at it all day today as well. Good play. Up forward it goes. Off hands. Laird did all the hard work and then misjudged it. That's a free kick and the umpires picked it. So the Crows get the ball on centre wing. Vince looks up. Not much on, so he decides to kick long and strong. Looking for the trucks. Rory Sloane lurking with intent, but Walker's been too good. Has a bounce. He's going to go for a run. Looks up, decides to go with a torpedo, hope for the best, but it's almost coming back. Now a chance. The danger man again. Yaron looks up, and Eddie Betts, his pal, marks directly in front, 40 metres out.
Well, Daniel Tarley didn't need to jump. It was a simple chest mark, and he just found himself in an awkward position. Didn't know whether there was contact coming. He sort of jumped off balance at the footy and dropped the sitter.
He just hasn't quite got his confidence back, Talia, after that broken arm last year. Hasn't found the form that saw him in such great nick until that moment. So Eddie Betts comes in, runs in.
Oh, Eddie.
What about where he ran?
That went exactly where he ran.
Yep.
Quick spinner.
I tell you what, Chris Yaron doesn't need a lot of possessions to have an impact, does he? He's only had a dozen or so, but he's kicked the 3 goals and he's set up a couple because he uses it so well.
He's almost best on ground for that alone, isn't he?
8 score involvements for Chris Yaron as Kerner takes the mark from the McKay clanger. And he is, well, on the brink of being within range. Let's see how he goes from 51.
It is a concern, though. The 2 key forwards for Carlton have the 2 lowest possession gets on the ground. Hampson and Sam Rowe. Yeah, 6 and 8.
He's
Eddie
looking
Betts
for a big grab. Rowe couldn't quite.
Eddie Betts has got 8, but he's subbed in with half a game.
They do. I know they get sick of saying it, but they do really need Jared Wade up and running, don't they? And I think he's making his return this weekend in the VFL.
Petrenko comes up to centre wing, takes the mark inside to Thompson. Jard almost had it, kept his feet.
Holding.
Umpire paid it for the hold. Has to come back and kick over the mark. And Chris Judd won't mind just milking the full 30 seconds or so here, just to put it out of touch completely. So brave effort since quarter time for the Adelaide Crows. Losing Taylor Walker, having to refashion their forward line, then losing Brown with concussion. The rotations obviously cut in half, but also the spirit could easily have been knocked out of them. And a couple of times it looked like Carlton were going to put them to the sword, but they've fought back and won the game since quarter time by 4 points at this moment. By 2 points rather. They're 26 points of difference now, so they've won the last 3 quarters by 2 points, which is some sort of victory for the Crows. They could have easily been flogged here at the MCG. So the throw in, Thompson again. Jacobs just tries to give a little toe poke. Carazzo's been fantastic, and again he's at the bottom of the pack.
There's been a few of those not paid today.
And he's got the free kick for his efforts. So Andrew Carazzo up to his 24th disposal.
See, the key forwards stand still or actually run backwards away from the kicker.
Betts for Garlett. Oh, he has.
I mean, it's great that these boys can do that. They get underneath them. And if that's the plan, just bomb it on top of these big blokes' heads, I reckon you'd probably want to get a couple of grabs up there during the course of the match.
Watch this, though. Eddie Betts' kick was as good a set-up as you'll ever see.
He was the architect. And Garlett just had time to get everything right.
But it's a concern.
Dermot, better organised defences won't allow them to kick winning scores.
And we've seen that happening.
They won't allow that ball to get out into the space like that on a spoil. They'll choke it down. And if you've got 2 key forwards who are both kind of lumbering, they'll just hold it in. You can imagine the Sydney defence right now, the ball would still be there.
Robinson gets the kick. Kerno, Rory Sloane has run himself into the ground, and he continues to do so. Great play. Judd's been fantastic today. Armfield has had a couple of really good weeks. Can run right in and bomb it long. Up to the goal square. There he is again over Eddie's head. But that doesn't mean it's over by a long way. Betts lurking with intent. Yaron in there. They're working him over, Doom. It's like the tag team out there at the moment. The mark dropped by Wright. Rowe trying to flick it over the top. He's tied. Robinson in hard. Great play. It spills out to Thompson. Now it comes out to McKay. Flicks the ball out to Wright. Wright out to Lynch.
Oh, no, it's Henderson.
Henderson on the run. Can go all the way here. 2 bounces.
Someone's got to turn and lead at him.
No one turned. It's up to Otten. He's got the set and the mark. He's done it well.
He's the best forward on the ground, Andy Otten.
He is. Actually, drop him into Carlton's team right now. he'd be their main man up forward.
He can't miss this one.
No, he could.
Hang on.
Oh,
No worries there. For his 3rd goal, for a makeshift forward, it's a pretty good effort from
Absolutely.
Andy Otten today.
And real trying circumstances as well. Carlton have been able to look. I would think that Mick would be saying our midfielders allowed them a little bit too much of the easy ball, but on a night when they've gone down and they've been up against it, you've got to remember what were they down by 6 goals, the best part at quarter time and half time.
11 minutes into the 3rd term, they were 13 minutes into the 3rd term, they were 43 points down. In fact, at the 21-minute mark of the 3rd term, they were 43 points down.
And it looked like it was heading south from there.
tell you what, I'd love to see, as we see Mick Malthouse moving up the table of most wins as an AFL coach.
You're keen to get that extra one to get past Sheeds.
Yes, he will, and he won't have to wait too long for that. But I'd love to see the percentage of goals now that are kicked by marks that are kicked running with the flight towards your own goals as opposed to leading up and taking the mark. It's horribly one-sided now.
Jamison creative out of defence. Lucas to the wing. And McLean versus Rutten.
And Luck's gone back now. It's probably a little bit too hard on his running capabilities to stay in the forward line.
He's exhausted and he got crunched just around. To more misery to the Crows' cause. Warnock took him out. Meantime, Carazzo bombs away. And then a mark. Almost an accidental mark in the end.
He had to turn his hand. He had to flat palm it and then catch it on the way down.
He just rolled it down his arm, dude.
Yeah.
They've got some tricks, those smaller Blues players up forward. Garland to finish off the match. To take it back to 32 points. Coming in for his 4th goal. As the clock counts down, he'll kick on the siren. The Blues are going to salute here at the MCG. Garland puts it through. A double roar, 1 for the goal, 1 for the victory. And Carlton with consecutive wins. Back in the hunt in season 2013. 17-13, 1-1-5 to 12-11-83. Lots of storylines through the game. The injuries to the Adelaide Crows, but most importantly for Carlton, as we watch this amazing mark again, they've had another victory and they're on their way.
Great play there by Garland, wasn't it? Just got his man out of position and had the dexterity, just as you said, Dermot, flat palm it, take the sting out of it,
bring
take
it
the
in.
mark.
Yeah, it was almost a wet weather mark on a night that's not wet weather. Brock McLean, for a bloke who stayed at home in the forward line for most of the time, 29 possessions tonight. We just saw Kingy on screen down there. Yeah, David King is with the injured Taylor Walker. When you're ready, Kingy.
Just quickly, Tex, get a quick grab from you. How you're feeling and whether you think you've done some major damage or not.
Oh, a bit sore, mate, so we'll see how we go. Get a skin on Monday, we'll see how we go.
Oh, bad luck, mate. Keep your chin up.
Thanks, mate.
Seriously, Dermot, you were talking about Brock McLean. We need to take our hat off and give this bloke the kudos he deserves. A couple of years ago, he was virtually on the scrap heap. People said he was too slow, but you know what? If you've got a good footy brain, you can survive in this game. And he's reinvented himself at Carlton. And again today, he's knocked up. He's had 29 possessions and kicked 2 goals. That's a hell of a turnout, isn't it?
And set up a couple of others as well.
The thing I like about it, and I mentioned to you...
12 score involvements.
You and I looked at each other during the course of the game. He thinks his way through microseconds close to goal, and that comes from being born into this game in heavy traffic in the middle as an inside midfielder. So put him close to goal, put him under absolute spontaneous pressure, make the decision. He's used to it. He makes the right decisions close to goal.
From one Walker to another. Kingy.
Exactly right, boys, and what a fantastic day for yourself. You're loving the halfback flank.
Yeah, it's nice. Just been freed up a little bit, so just defend first and go get the ball after that.
You kicked 56 goals in 2011. What's it like? How have you adjusted to the change?
Well, I got drafted as a halfbacker, so I've got a bit of confidence in my body again. I can spoil the ball and just running with the ball, and as I said, I'm really enjoying it down there.
Do you feel like things are starting to click now for the Carlton Footy Club? Had a tough couple of weeks at the start of the year.
Yeah, well, we played probably three teams that are going to be in the top 8 this year. So at the first 3 games, so we just got done there, and there's some good signs, and it's good that the boys have sort of fought it out. Played well last week over at against West Coast, and held on tonight as well, so it was good.
It was a tough game late, wasn't it?
It was. They come at us pretty hard, but as I said, we held on. Probably just need to slow the ball down a little bit, which we did, and got control of the game again.
Oh, well done, mate. Go and enjoy it.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate it.
Andrew Walker there, 32 disposals. Was a great player again from the half-back line. 4 inside 50s, really set up so many of the forward thrusts for the Blues.
I will give it a bit of a rap on the back. Oh, hang on. Next 4. The Blues got Melbourne, St Kilda, Port Adelaide and Brisbane Lions.
It's a very winnable month, isn't it?
Well, Port Adelaide loses. Who would have thought this 6 weeks ago? Port Adelaide loses the toughest one there, but they've now got a run at stringing wins together.
They need to win all 4 of those games.
Well, that'll get them to 6 and 3.
Yep.
I must take my hat off to somebody, and a footballing brain that thought his way through it. Ben Rutten, when he went forward in the last quarter. Just the difference of having a calm mind, knowing the sport, knowing the decisions to make. I thought he was fantastic. Probably only got the 3 possessions as it wasn't a half forward, but he was started about 30 metres out from goal and led up at the footy. His knowledge of how and when to go to the ball was something that I reckon every other forward, apart from Otten's running with the footy, something every other forward on the ground should look at, because he's played on the absolute champions of this comp in 199 games. 200th next week for him. Oh, I thought he was fantastic last quarter.
They could be dangerous, the Blues, though, if they get a high marking forward, because Garlett with 4 and Yarran with 3, and Eddie Betts was electric when he came back into football again with a goal and a few assists. They were fantastic. Well, the Blues led by 28 points at quarter time. It looked like they were going to pull away. They ended up winning by 32 points, and as you can see, they're happy to take the 4 points back to Optus Oval.